for people to come on. And so
Yeah.
I don't really like get into the whole nitty gritty thing, but I'll do like a, hey, everybody, welcome. If you're new here, my name is Jenna-veev, and I'm here today with Sherry.
Hello.
Sherry and I met on one of my lives. She dropped in, and then I checked out her channel, which is really interesting because she does a lot of ADHD content, and she nerds out on her special interests, which at the time when she was renewing a phlebotomy license, she was doing a lot of little coursework. And so she's shared a lot of that on her video as well. So today we are actually didn't really have a plan for this video. Oh, hold on. So that's weird. There was a delay there. So
I hear that there is for like the first few minutes you start.
Okay,
before.
yeah, but on my computer I forgot to mute that, so it started echoing back. So anyway, we are going to talk about, and of course we allowed it to sort of make itself known organically, and we were talking about how to set up your lighting situation, microphone situation, and there's infinite ways to do it.
Yeah.
But what way is going to work for you so that you, hi Mark, so that you can get your lives done, jump on, start making videos. And so we were just kind of playing around with the lighting, playing around. We're both wearing our little plug-in microphones because we are both on our phones, and you have to be able to hear what people are saying. Now, normally when I do a live, I'm just wearing my clip-on microphone and I mute my computer and I monitor, because then I'm not getting an echo. But in order to hear you, Sherry, I need to wear mine and you need to wear yours. So that's why we're wearing the wired ones. So right before I started the live stream, hi Mama.
Hello.
Gail Pat is here.
Hi, Gail.
So Jonathan's here. Late night. So we're going to talk about just like the beginning live stream how-to stuff, because we're both new live streamers.
Yeah.
And as a matter of fact, Sherry's getting to the point where she'll be able to live stream soon. She just needs a few more subscribers. So if you guys are looking for another creator to support and just hang out with, it's Sherry. Go check her out. And oh look, it's all my friends are coming on, girl. So
I've got the next episode for the opioid crisis deep dive I've been doing, where I've been going way back in history.
Oh my gosh.
That's going to be really interesting.
Yeah. So when she was doing her coursework, why don't you tell us about that? Okay, so you can see the chat? Good.
I can.
Yay.
Woo! Hi.
So you guys, a lot of the times when you're on the live stream, this is Sherry. She's Lady Phoenix. She's in the chat with you guys, but today she's doing another live stream with us because I wanted to catch up with her and not only, get you more in the swing of doing your lives and everything, getting your lighting set up, which is fun, but also get caught up with you. How's your channel going?
I know.
How did your certification go and your coursework go?
I got it.
I'm going to let you take it away, girl. Go ahead.
What do you want to hear about first?
Well, just take us through it, because I know
Miss
that
Elise. Thank you very much.
I know that you were working on your coursework really when we first started talking.
Yeah.
And you were also trying to launch your YouTube channel.
Yeah,
and I think you were working on both of those things.
Yeah, at the same time.
And then you kind of crashed and burned.
I burned
so
myself out.
Back it up and start talking about the processes you were going through.
Does any of your viewers also, are they also any of them neurodivergent that
I would
get burned out
I'm
easily?
Gonna imagine.
Yeah. I have ADHD, and I tend to hyperfocus and obsess and go for hours and hours and hours and not know what I'm doing. And then the next day I'm dead. And so then I'll avoid it, for a couple days, and then I'm like, panic. So yes, my license that I got a few years back is for phlebotomy tech before I started doing nursing classes. And because I paid money for that, and I worked so hard to get it, and I have ADHD, and I actually graduated with good grades, and I was so excited, that was huge for me, that I have been renewing it every 2 years. I'm not letting it go. I don't care if I never end up drawing blood. I earned that.
Really important.
Yeah. And so every 2 years, you have to earn about 10 credits towards whichever classes you want to take. And these classes are not like, you know, college courses where they're over a semester. It's like a chapter in a book, basically. They're articles, but they're kind of long. And it's very science dense, a lot of information. And then you have to do multiple choice, but they're kind of tricky. And when you take the test for it, if you it's pass or fail, and you have to earn. Yep.
What?
Yep. Well, I got 90% on one. I
so that's
got
a pass,
80%
obviously.
on one. Yeah, anything over a certain amount. So that, I don't know, I always end up waiting till the last minute. And this time I was so proud of myself that I realized 6 weeks ahead of time, I'm like, yay, I'll do a little bit every week. And it still didn't happen. It still ended up cliche, ADHD, panic mode, last day. And I'm like, that's okay. I've got 2 classes left, and one of them I'm ready to take the test for, right? And then the other one, I'm like, I'm just going to read it and study it tonight. It's going to be fine. And I logged in, and it said, basically after 6 o'clock that night, they were going to be shut down for days. And I was like, what? And it was because of Juneteenth holiday, and they didn't tell me ahead of time. So I saw that in an hour before they were closing. So I went panic mode, and I just picked a topic that was something I would know very well, which is like customer service. I work in retail. And hello, everyone. And so yeah, that I was just so high fear. And it usually takes half an hour for me to take one of these tests. You have 60 minutes to take it. I had to do 2 tests in 60 minutes. And I just
Oh my gosh.
I was in panic mode because technically I had until midnight. But I didn't know they were going to close down at 6 that night.
Oof.
And I'm thinking I have all night. Yes.
And you know what? That's
Jono.
exactly. That's
Look
what
at
I tried
Jono.
to tell. Yeah,
He knows.
exactly. Yes, exactly. That's what I was. Did I mute myself? Okay. That's
Is
what I was
it Jono or Jono?
It's like Jonathan.
Oh, okay.
I have to say Jonathan, or I can't say it right.
Hello. So yeah, I had so much fear, cortisol, stress hormones in me that after that, I was fried the rest of the night. And then after like a day or 2, I started getting sick. And then I was like, but I did it to myself. And
well, define what that means, because when you say sick to you, it doesn't mean you have a cold or a flu necessarily, although it can feel like it.
Yeah.
Explain what that means to someone who is neurodivergent, to someone who's not.
It's very similar to, let's say, if you've been working a job that's not suited to you, and you have a boss that expects you to stay late every day. He doesn't care if you have family, and you're working for months, hours late every day for months, until like you can't stand it anymore and you just can't even drag yourself out of bed. But imagine that happening after much less of a time and much less of a threshold. And then I know for ADHD, and I was actually watching some more videos about this to start showing material for my channel. Our tank, I guess, of energy and executive functioning is smaller than the average person. So you can only go for so long, and then your brain just freezes up, and then you have to stop. Because if, at least for me, with my executive functioning issues, if I get stressed, this just mousetrap shuts off and I can't think straight. So yeah, that was kind of tricky, but I did really enjoy studying those different classes. I just could pick whichever one I want. And because this particular licensing board, they also license people who are like medical techs and other kinds of, nurses and other things too. So they have a variety, and I really enjoyed learning about the opioid crisis, and it really was like, oh, I want to find out more about this. So
I think it's really interesting that you went kind of in a deep dive into history.
Yes.
Because in order to truly understand something where it is today, if you don't go backwards and reverse engineer how everything got here, there's no way you have an understanding of it.
Right.
And to truly understand, I love that you went into the history and that you were interested in it too. I
still
love that
going
you
back.
love to nerd out on that. It's so cool.
Yes. I don't know. I think, and Jenna might appreciate this, I might be ADHD. I don't know if it's just ADHD, but I suspect I have autism as well, because when I was in this group, this ADHD group, which was really awesome. I'm going to be talking about that on my channel, by the way. So if anybody thank you. If anybody has ADHD or autism and has executive functioning issues with time management, you get paralysis as trying to choose, like, oh my God, I have all these things I want to do and I have no idea where to start. I have some tricks for that. I'm going to be showing 2 different systems, and I'm definitely going to be talking about neurochemistry of the brain. There's some stuff that I'm going to share so that we can see we aren't crazy, and it's something that you cannot stop it from happening. You have to. It sucks because we're all so smart that I can't accept it, because to me it's like, why does my brain shut off? Why do I get overwhelmed? This is silly. Just pick something, but so the last couple years I've been working with a counselor who has, thank you so much, Jonah, about shut off. Yes. Thank you so much. I've been working with a counselor who has ADHD herself, and that has been so helpful. I am very grateful that she shared that with me. She didn't have to, because usually counselors won't share personal things about themselves. But for me, that's great, because then I know I can say, hey, what do you think about this? And know that she knows from the inside. And so she goes, yes, we deal with this, but there are some ways you can deal with it. And I know that she's going to give me really good feedback as to, the perfectionism. Am I expecting too much? And my brain is already going on different topics.
It's really important to have more neurodivergence in the fields that we have to interface with. When I went to the dentist, if you guys didn't see, I made a video about going to the dentist, and I was talking about Lady Phoenix kind of being there and walking me through it. Well, this is her. She was like literally texting me being like, it sounds like you're in freeze mode. I mean, it hadn't occurred to me, like, what's happening to me when I'm in this state and my ears can't hear right. And it's like, I get overly sensitive to everything.
It was overwhelmed.
That being able to just call it a name helped me so much. Just be like, oh, okay, it's like separate it from me into a concept that I could remove myself from a little bit, or deal with. And that was good.
Thank you. And I so relate to you with that. Like, I know that with ADHD and autism, there's so much overlap, right? The sensitivities, and that's why I'm not sure if I have both or if it's just ADHD, because some of the symptoms I have could be either. But the overwhelm, I get overwhelmed if there's too many things going on. And your nervous system was already jacked up because you were already nervous.
Yeah.
You were already panicking because of your PTSD from your things you went through. So the fact that you even got in your car, congrats. Sometimes when you are in that level of fear and you're almost to the point of having an anxiety attack, and then you can't think at all, and then you have to wait hours maybe for it to go away before you can think again. For you to do
sleep.
That.
That's the only way for me to do it, is sleep. I have to literally reset my neurology.
Yeah.
Also, I wanted to tell you, because there was a video. I pulled up all these Google tabs to make a video, and then I didn't end up making it, but I still have some of the Google tabs pulled up. Because there's brand new research that just dropped out of, I want to say like UC Davis or something weird. And they've just released a study like maybe 2 weeks ago.
Oh, yeah?
It says that autistic girls stand out among everybody, even autistic boys. There's a thickened cortex there's a certain window of time where the cortex goes from being more thick than other like neurodivergence or autistic boys. They have a thicker cortex. And then there's a certain period of time where it rapidly thins.
Oh.
You've got to see it. You've got to see it. I thought we could do a live together on it even, but I got overwhelmed by all the tabs and trying to organize
that would be
in my head.
amazing.
I'm like, But I was like, this is amazing information because now it's not just like, oh, it's in your head. It's like, well, it literally is in your cortex.
It's not.
Something's happening physiologically with, and that's interesting because I don't feel like I'm a broken version of a neurodivergent or a neurotypical. I'm not a broken version of a neurotypical. I'm a different operating system. Period.
But it's still, I think just coming to that understanding in the last, for me, 2 years, like, yes, I was diagnosed with ADHD almost 25 years ago, and I was an adult.
Wow.
I was 25, like 24. So, but I still, the reinforcement from family and friends and work, even though you try to explain, hey, I'm sorry if I'm always late or if this happens, it's what I have, but they still expect you to find a way. Like,
right.
And so then you always constantly feel like a failure. And I feel like that is so ingrained that I'm thinking that's got to take a while to undo, because has anybody ever seen the movie What the Bleep Do We Know?
Yeah.
Yes. You know how they talk about like if you think a certain way or feel a certain way and you reinforce that by your story, that your own story of your life that you believe. Yeah. And every time you think it, it just reinforces those neural pathways. So it creates a rut. So it takes a while, which is kind of blows my mind, to actually start learning about the actual physiology of how our brain works and the anatomy. It's kind of overwhelming. It's kind of depressing, but yeah, I was watching those videos about, I was watching videos yesterday and today about the brain from ADHD experts. So I like Daniel Amen, but I really like Dr. Russell Barkley. He's kind of hard to watch. If you first watch him during one of his presentations, he comes across kind of gruff, but as you watch it, and he goes through the material quickly, but as you watch it, you realize that he is actually supporting us, So one of the things that I learned, which was really helpful to me, was it was a presentation at, I don't know, like a university that Russell Barkley was doing. And they're long. They're like an hour, hour and a half. Should I get diagnosed for treatment? I'd really like to know if anyone's tried something like anti-anxiety. Oh, Jono, if you have depression, make sure you don't forget to take those. You might be able to, I had really, really bad anxiety and I ended up having stomach problems. So, and then when they ended up adjusting my medication, that kind of started to go away as far as the anxiety. And if you do have ADHD and you are considering taking medication, I can't say whether you should or not because I'm not a doctor. So definitely talk to your psychiatrist, psychologist, licensed clinical social worker, your primary care. I would consider it because I learned some very interesting stuff today. And it was another Dr. Russell Barkley video, and it was old, so I was surprised. But there's 30 different studies that show that people with ADHD if you take ADHD medication, because it increases the dopamine, which we're deficient of, if children start younger, it actually is neuroprotective. And they were saying that, you know how we have such a stigma about medication and people go, oh, it's addictive, oh, it's bad. They did these studies with these children, and one of the things that I have been learning as far as the differences in our neurology in our brain is, I'm just going to say this briefly, it's a little different for autism, and I haven't learned a lot about that yet, but I will. But for ADHD, your brain as a child is a couple years behind development. It develops in the same way, but it's slower. And there are actually two parts of your brain that are a little smaller, which is really sad and depressing and scary.
Why?
But
I mean, maybe you just don't need those parts.
that's the part for the executive functioning. This
But
is
does
a little,
everybody need to executive function? I mean, isn't that the whole
you know
point of
what?
neurodiversity? We must
So
have a different thing. Go ahead, though. Go ahead. Sorry.
executive functioning can be something that both autistic people and ADHD people struggle with. I know that for every autistic person it's different, and every ADHD person it's different, but for ADHD people it's huge because so your executive functioning is the part in your brain that decides what you're going to work on, long-term planning, deciding what you're going to do. It affects everything from how you watch time, when you get up in the morning, how you're going to take your shower, how you're going to cook your food. Basically, you need it for basic stuff. And it's amazing to me that we take this for granted, and it's physiological.
You know,
Yes.
I need to interject because I've been lately, like the past couple of weeks, really noticing how much I dislike doing.
Yes.
Everything, the process of doing anything. If I want to go
Yes.
over there and get something, there's a whole freaking process that goes into that.
Yes.
And I'm
Yep.
so over that process. And I think that's that executive functioning
Yep.
thing is like not
It's both.
feeling it. It's like
No.
it's the whole order of things that need to get done where I just want that quantum experience of being. I don't want to have to do
Right.
stuff. I just want to be. You
Right.
feel me?
Well, here's another thing, the dopamine connection. So dopamine, and here's another thing. And I thought this was really interesting because he was saying that ADHD is basically the diabetes of psychiatry because it's something that never goes away. It's something you always have to manage. And when you take medication, it boosts the dopamine. So people think, oh, you could just do it if you tried harder. But they don't realize that if you were to compare, and I actually am going to put some graphics up on my page, if you were to compare like where the two nerves are and all the chemicals going back and forth and they're communicating in a neurotypical brain, they got all this dopamine going. So it's functioning awesome, right? If you take the ADHD person's brain, it's like so much less. So the stimulant works and it boosts dopamine, just like if you have the type of depression where your serotonin and your oxytocin and your, all these neurochemicals, we need them. So when you don't have enough of them, it doesn't just contribute to your mood, but you need them for your brain to work so you can think straight, so you can do stuff. And dopamine is also the chemical of motivation and your physical energy. So if you don't have enough dopamine, it affects your frontal lobes working properly. Your whole brain is going to feel sluggish, and it's your reward system. So neurotypicals, they will do stuff and they'll feel good when they cross things off of our list. Do we feel good when we cross things off of our list? No, we just are like, oh, thank God. And then we get anxiety about the next thing because it's so much work when you don't have those feel-good chemicals that make you want to get up and do those things. So there are some other things that you can do to boost your dopamine if you can't get ADHD meds, because I know that there are some places there's still a shortage. It's really tricky. It's really tough. But definitely if you are physically able, for people who don't want to take ADHD medication, walk every day, walk. because exercise is what's going to help your brain to produce a little bit more. Besides that, over the years, I've tried probably everything to do it because I didn't want to go on medication for years. I hated it. I had so many negative experiences getting it even like years ago. So I was like, screw that. I don't need to be treated like I'm some kind of addict when I'm just trying to get this medication that's made and created for people like me who have what I have, that I am diagnosed, and then I can't get it because this place says, sorry, we just don't give that out because of the potential for abuse. And they don't understand. People who actually have ADHD, if you're not diagnosed and you're not taking things for it, it is so much more of a high prevalence of addiction because subconsciously you know something's wrong. You're like, oh, I can't think straight. So you're either like chugging all this coffee or smoking, or you want to like run away from life and hide in a bottle because you can't, you're going from job to job and you can't realize like, why can't I think straight? So yeah, diagnosis is
Shifty
good.
just came on. Shifty came on
Hi.
and is
Yes.
a regular here, dealing with anxiety, depression,
Hi,
ADD,
Shifty.
ADHD, the whole thing's processed, meds. Yeah.
Yeah.
Feel like you're not you.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's part of the real struggle is
Yeah.
the anxiety of knowing that we cannot operate the way society demands. I mean,
Right.
yes, since COVID, things have changed and
Yeah.
we're able to find more flexibility, and more attention is being brought to the forefront of reasonable accommodations
Right.
for people who, it's not a big deal. I just need a quiet space, or I need a certain type of lighting, or you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying. And
I only got one accommodation from my boss, and I'm still dealing with stuff with that. Like I'm going to have to actually hunt down my old diagnosis from 25 years ago, which I don't even know if they still have it. And I'm going to have to call HR and give that to them to prove. It's just like, I'm a cashier. Is it really worth it? All I want them to do is to know I run 5 to 10 minutes late no matter what. I can I can start getting ready 3 hours early. For some reason, it still happens because I can't perceive time, and
See, I was dealing with that
awful.
at some points in my life before I had a car service, really. And before I started like signing my kids up for classes, because I was like deathly afraid of being late for those. But I started just tricking myself, and I would program my brain. I would never say, okay, the class starts at 7:30. I would always be like, we need to get there by 7. We need to leave here by 6:30, no matter what. And I knew. And so I always tricked myself, and I never would try to remember the actual time. It's always really enough time in the future so that I forget that, the real time is actually, I've given myself so much time. It's written into.
I put it in my brain like 10 minutes before it's time to leave. And then
You
I
need to
will
do
look
like
it
an
up.
hour.
I will look at the clock and it will have been 10 minutes past. And I'll be like, what the F just happened? I was just sitting there for 2 minutes. But that's because I happen to have
and
time
a routine, like a get ready go routine too.
Yeah.
That's why routines are so important to people on the spectrum, because without it, it's like squirrel, or we just don't know that's what happens to me most of the time. It's like that demand avoidance thing, or whatever it's called, where I just can't even think of what I'm supposed to be doing right now. I know I'm supposed to be doing something, but that sheer fact robs me of all of the information I need to get it done.
Short-term memory. So executive functioning and the short-term memory is shot. And this is what's really good about, I really want to get into talking about scaffolding, that like the planners or the notes, we have to like put things exterior from us.
Oh, no.
Don't expect us. I see that Jono said, can I just pause for a second to?
Go right ahead. Engage with the chat. Shifty is having some issues
oh no.
Yeah.
I scrolled back up because I realized I missed. He said, I had a really bad experience with depression meds. That is really hard. It takes a while, and because all of our brain chemistry is different. So one of the reasons that I actually didn't go on antidepressants my whole life, is both of my parents have depression. So as a child, you grow up and you're like, they're just convinced. It can't be like both of them, but they both did. And it runs in both sides of my family. So they actually did. But as a child, I was like, yeah, I'm not going to do that. I'm just, what if they're convinced by their counselor? What if they actually don't? So I thought, well, if I just live my life like I don't, I'll be fine. And then,
Right.
years later, I had to go on them because I was like getting to a bad point. And I
There
didn't
is
have a
a
choice.
doctor that I recently, it was about a month ago. I saw an amazing video he did. I think I shared it with you, or I shared it on in my community. I know I did, and he had some very interesting things to say about ADHD and ADD. And one of the things was, he's like, if you put someone with depression on ADD meds, something happened. He was very specific about these two things. I need to find that because I think there's
Yeah,
a lot of
definitely find it.
misdiagnosis.
There is. And I
Yeah.
can tell you why. One thing that I've actually known since I was diagnosed, they've known way back then. And anybody who is recently getting diagnosed, there are some good books, even though they're a little bit older, they're really good books. You Mean I'm Not Crazy, Lazy, or Stupid? There's that one. There's the one by, I can't remember if that's for women or if that's for everyone, but that's really good. I had one that was a woman in ADHD book, and then I also had the Ed Hollowell, and it's funny because that doctor actually comes from like a town near me. But what was I going to say about that? I totally blanked out. But
It's
the
hard when
thing
you
with
get a glimpse of the chat. It's easy to get distracted if you look at the chat.
I wanted to mention to you, John, and now it's frozen because I'll scroll back again. I knew somebody who, when she went on, she just had some freak reaction to an antidepressant that she tried, and she actually, it wasn't like psychosis, but she was like, she worked in a hospital, so they found her sitting outside on the curb, and she wasn't in her right mind. So a medicine that I could take, somebody else might take, and because their depression might be different, their chemical imbalance might be different, their genetics are different, that something that helps me might cause a bad reaction. So if he is interested in the bad experience that you had is what I'm saying. It's really up to you how, if you choose, I can understand if you had a horrible experience being scared to try it again, but maybe try a different class of antidepressants and one that has less of a history of that. Let's see. I take Wellbutrin, which I was scared because my friend had a really bad reaction to it, and so I was scared. But my aunt, after I went through I was going through a separation, and with somebody who has a personality disorder, so there was all this trauma, and I couldn't. It was a straw that broke the camel's back, and I was so bad that I was starting to think thoughts of, unaliving. And so my aunt said to me, "You're young." She says, I take that medicine and I'm okay. So if I take it and I'm okay and you're my blood, chances are you won't have that bad reaction that your friend did. And she says, if you don't do something, you're going to leave this earth before you're meant to. And so I actually was one of the things I promised myself I would never do. And then I did. And it was, for me, it was the best thing. And sometimes you have to, it takes a while. You have to try different things, and they'll start you slow and they gradually increase it. And if you have they should start you slow. So
What can
hopefully,
be done? Just interject here?
yeah.
What can be done before resorting to meds? What kinds of natural things can we do? Like, Jonna works out,
St.
so
John's
he's
works.
physically fit. Yeah, so like, what
But
can we do? St. John's wort, grounding. I
St.
mean,
John's wort.
what
Now,
can we do to make
here,
sure that we're doing everything to avoid
the meds
needing,
aren't bad.
if
If you get on
possible?
meds aren't horrible. If you get on the right med at the right dose, guess what it does? It just brings your brain chemistry up to normal. So I'm on the right dose, and it makes me how normal, right? Because my brain chemistry is too low. I'm deficient in things. So the particular ones that I take just boost it up enough. So if you end up having a bad reaction, I'm very sorry that happened to you. Oh, Jonah's very sweet.
Yeah.
Oh, he's got to go. Bye. Bye, Jono.
Bye.
I hope that gets better for him. And
So
what were you saying about Shifty?
How does someone, oh, okay, so if you back up through the chat, you'll see Shifty was having some issues at a job and as an auto person and giving people the bad news of what's wrong with their car, and then they're all mad at him, and he's like, it's horrible, right? Working a job like that.
Customer service is very tough if you are neurodivergent. Shifty, do you have autism or ADHD or both? Is Shifty neurodivergent?
I think maybe,
just introverted?
Yeah. Well, and so the other thing that I'm seeing is the information that's coming out saying if you are a highly verbal, neurodivergent with high intellect, and you have to interface with neurotypicals all the time, you're going to get burned out more often. Bottom line.
It's awful.
Bottom line.
And the thing that kills, and that's me. And I've gradually cut my work days to 2 days a week. And so now that I know that, I know why, but I've been feeling horrible about myself because I have a bad back too. But I'm like, this is not okay. Because I'm like, I'm working 2 days a week. I'm working as a cashier. I'm broke. And I should be contributing to my family. My mom is 80. You know, I need to get myself to a position where I can contribute to the mortgage so I don't lose my house when I lose my mom someday. Hopefully we have her for a long time. But I mean, that's the thing that I was trying to do when I went back to school for the phlebotomy, and then there were no jobs. And then I continued with nursing, and then my family moved. And now I'm like, I have a bad back. Do I want to do that? And so, and that's another thing too, is I feel like I know that a lot of people with autism are not able to be employed for one reason or another, either like the sensitivity or it's a lot. The social dynamics in the workplace are hard to figure out sometimes, and it's a lot.
What some studies have recently shown that autistic women just have a natural disdain for people. I mean, they're not wrong. We love people in one way, the empathy, the over empathy, the, you know, animals, puppies, babies, stuff like that. But like adult humans and stuff like that.
That's why I get mad.
That disdain.
And I just have to suck it up. I have to and it makes me so mad. And I internalize it because you can't like take it out. It's unprofessional. You can't let them, and there's so many, oh my God, there's this guy on YouTube, Angry IKEA guy. Have you guys seen the Angry IKEA guy? Oh my God. Look up the Angry IKEA guy. I don't know if he's still doing content, but he used to work in IKEA, and he basically is somebody who worked in retail. And I have seen in the last like 30 years of me working in retail, the percentage of rude customers and ignorant customers, the percentage has kind of grown, and the manners are kind of less, and you can't say anything, you know?
Okay, I pulled it up. Hold on. Let me play this. Let's see. Hold on.
He's funny. It's not appropriate humor, guys. I'm sorry. Don't have the volume on when your kids are here.
Oh, it's probably going to echo.
Oh, rewind it. Rewind it. You have to hear it from the beginning.
All my friends not to shop here.
Yep.
Customer.
Wait.
You think I own this business? You just lost yourself a customer. You think I own this business? You think I own IKEA? I'm a part-time employee halfway through a 2-week notice. I don't give a shit. I'm telling all my friends not to shop here.
Good.
You think I want 5 other yous running around the store?
Yeah.
Call me, I'll tell them. You think you hate this place more than me? I work here. I knew the sale ended last week, but can I still get a discount? Do you hear yourself?
No. Oh
That's
my God.
funny.
Yeah, there's some really good ones. Like, I work in a pharmacy environment, and it's retail. And there's one where the customer comes up to him. He basically says all the stuff that anybody's worked customer service wants to say, but absolutely can't. And it just sucks because you're holding it in and you try to let it go. Shifting nose, yes.
Oh, that's so sad. I mean, but I'm gonna say this, like, good for you for trying. Good for you for doing it.
I
I've
just didn't
had
have anything
jobs.
else I was doing, so that's
I
it.
mean, for Shifty for going and working that shit job,
Mm-hmm.
because I've had jobs and situations, mostly they were jobs, where when I had to go to them, it like made me physically ill.
Yes.
And I'm like, what is wrong with me? Why am I such a baby? Grow
Exactly.
up.
I think, and I struggle with
It's like,
that every day that I work. Yes, every time I'm getting ready for work, that's what I'm thinking about. And I start to get anxiety and I like hate my job. And then once I get there, because I've worked there for a little while and it happens to be a good environment as far as compared to other retail places, and you get to know the customers and they get to know you, and it's almost like this extended family. And then somebody
right.
who cares about you comes in, hi, I'm so glad you're here, I haven't seen you. And then you feel really good, and that
So
kind of
then maybe
balances.
it's
But I'm still
not.
exhausted.
I mean, he's in a totally different situation where people are just really pissed off
Yeah,
at the information he's. That's completely different.
that
So,
is
but
tough.
what? So maybe it's not the.
It's the rude customers.
But for you, I
It's still
think
draining.
it's draining. What is it that's draining? Because there's aspects about it that you love. Like that feeling you're saying and the customers that come in, that part about it, is it the having to go to the job? If it was remote and it was on your computer and
No,
you could
it's the
do it whenever
same.
you wanted.
Because you're masking. Even though I'm
Yeah.
being genuine, I'm being myself, they're still masking. And it's so ingrained in me because you're basically like
Yeah.
performing. So even though
Mhm.
I'm being myself, you still have to be like, hi, how are you doing today? Let me tell you about the sales. Since I've been doing it since like I was 19 and I'm 49. So it's ingrained. I make myself do it. And there's things I do enjoy about it, but it still drains the bejesus out of me. Like
Mark, is
I
this
am
your issue
depleted.
too? Mark, this you're dealing with ADHD also. I guess it's very, very common, very much more common than they thought.
Yeah.
And here's the thing about masking though. Look on TikTok and tell me that every single one of those influencers aren't masking. So
You
neurotypicals
have to some
mask,
degree.
but it
Yeah.
doesn't
But
drain
it's,
them.
yes, because, well, first we have the sensitivity issues, right? We
Yeah.
also have a much smaller energy tank, okay? Because we get hung up on things that don't make sense to us, right? So we might get hung up. Like I saw a video the other day, and it was a teenager who has autism, and he was all wondering how the chip. Now he's high functioning. I don't know. He looks neurotypical, and him and his mom do these videos and they're very nice and he explains everything. I'm like, I totally relate to him. But his mom he actually went to CVS, and he was in a pharmacy, and I'm like, oh, I would have somebody like that as my customer, and I would totally be so nice to him because I don't care how long it takes, And he's like, how does the chip actually work? And I could see the gears turning in his head. And to me, I was like, I wonder that too. So the cashier that was there was like, I don't know. And then neurotypicals, they only want enough information to do the thing they're doing, and then they let it go. Well, now I'm curious. I want to know why too. Because he's like, I don't understand. It doesn't work like a barcode. And his mom's like, she herself has autism and ADHD and really bad anxiety. But she was there helping him. She's like, okay, so we got to move to the next thing. They were using it as an opportunity to get him acclimated to being around crowds, to being around. So when she's not here anymore, he can go into stores and do these things. But yeah, I totally wanted to look that up, like how the chip works. But yeah,
That's
if that
funny,
was
yeah.
him and he was my customer, normally what I would have done, I'd be like, I don't know, here, let me come find out. I said, hey, let me look at my phone. I would
Yeah,
look
I
it
was
up.
actually when I was 16 years old, I was working at Sizzler's Steak Seafood Salad. Sizzler Steak Seafood Salad.
Yep.
Who talks like that?
Oh
And
my God, that would be my nightmare.
I
That would be my
was
nightmare job.
fired, and it was horrible the way they fired me. But they told me they fired, and this isn't how I was fired, but they said this is why I was fired. I was fired because I didn't smile enough at the cash register, which is probably true. I might have thought I was smiling or forgot to care about whatever. But there's a button you push called Plu. Have you ever heard of Plu?
No.
Or Skew.
Is that Skew? Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm like, what does that mean? What does that stand for? And they couldn't tell me. And so I couldn't make it.
You couldn't think of the next thing.
Yeah. I couldn't make it. I couldn't remember the system of how it all works because I didn't know what this one key that I'm supposed to push meant. And they're like, what difference does it make? You just push it now. And I'm like, but what does it mean? I can't remember to push it now until I know what it does.
Yeah, I'm that way too. Because I would feel like, do you want me to be stupid? I would feel like, I know I don't need to know, but you're showing it to me and you've been doing this. Why don't you know?
Right.
Don't you want to know? I ended up seeing that somewhere.
Tell you how they fired me though. Someone called in sick in the morning and they called my house really early in the morning and asked me if I could come in and work. And well, opening means you have to set up the salad bar, right? So you have to do the whole ice and the whole thing. So it's a 20-minute drive for me. I'm a little 16-year-old. I go in there, I haul out all this ice, I put all the endive all over the ice,
God bless you.
I put all the tubs in.
No.
Tubs in, and then he's like, okay, well, you're fired.
Because they don't care.
He told me to open and then fired me. And I should have just taken my arm and get swept across that thing and all the ice and endive and shit all over the floor and then left.
Yeah, I know.
That was a horrible way to treat a teenager. You know,
I think he was desperate. He probably didn't want to call you if he thought that you were new or had issues. And then you got there, and then a lot of times, and this is true with retail
just let me work the shift. You know,
the managers just want somebody who's going to be a body, but they want you to do the job perfect. And if you can't, they'll find somebody else, right?
Oh my gosh. Just so rude. That's just so rude.
I wouldn't. Yeah, it's brutal. Working customer service, especially if anybody who works in the restaurant industry, I would give them a medal. Because first of all, I have ADHD and I cannot remember. I wouldn't be able to write down everything fast enough. I wouldn't be able to carry all those dishes. I worked at a Starbucks when I went through my separation. And they told me that one of the job requirements, if I'm ringing and I'm getting the cups to the person, the barista who's making the drinks, I'm supposed to call them to him, or I'm supposed to, no, it's the barista. You're supposed to remember, they're supposed to call it to you, and you're supposed to remember 6 drinks in. I'm sorry, if somebody goes, yeah, I want a triple venti, this, that, the other, and I'm going to remember 5 of those drinks, I said, no, I have ADHD. There's spaces on the cup for you to write venti, tall, this, that, the other. And I said, I'm sorry, you have to do that. They're like, well, even the other coworkers, well, it's in our job. I'm like, I have ADHD and I can't. And as soon as you say something like that, and still to this day, you risk making yourself like,
absolutely. You're ostracized and outcast for sure. Absolutely. I was a waitress a few different times, and there were plenty of times. It's just like learning someone's name where literally the second they say it and you turn around, it's gone.
It's gone.
I always had to write every single stupid thing down. You want water? Water, table 4.
One of the things that's really helped me, and I got this tip from my
customer service voice. What's my customer service voice?
Hi, thank you for shopping, blah, blah, blah. How can I help you today?
I guess I have like a customer service newscaster voice.
You almost feel like a stewardess.
Yeah. I don't know if you saw the video I did. Maybe you saw like part of the first one, but then I put up the whole long thing about autism and predators. You know, and that is my on-camera persona.
Yes.
That's just my on-camera reading a script persona. And I'm like, my mask is a newscaster. That's my mask.
Mm-hmm. It's exhausting. It's exhausting. Because also, too, is even if you have a good day and you're not taking care of like 3 people at the same time, now that we've got self-checkout, let me just say, I was able to force myself through doing my job, and then they got self-checkout, and I've been meaning to quit. and I haven't quit since, and I've kind of adjusted to it, but now it's like hours keep getting cut. And it's the same way in a lot of retail environments, and especially in pharmacies in general, all the pharmacies. I hear that like Walgreens is going to be closing a bunch of like 7,000 stores or whatever. They said that it's not that the store model, that type of customer service store model for the the retail pharmacy industry is not sustainable, because there's like so many other options now. People can get prescriptions from online, they can order, right? But and then after COVID, so many people left, and nobody wants to work retail anymore because it sucks. It's hard. It was hard as it was.
Well,
but now it's like,
it sucks because people suck. It sucks because
people do suck.
People are going to use you as their personal whipping boy
Yep.
for all the trouble in their life, because, you know, it's just like the way you see people like falling off of cliffs when they take selfies. There's no real understanding that the whole entire world, even though maybe it's a video game or a simulation, that it matters how you behave. It's like they treat it like it doesn't matter. They don't understand boundaries. They don't understand danger.
I'm going to say something, and it's going to sound evil. Back in the day, natural selection would have taken care of that.
Girl, that's me all day long. They're talking about I mean, okay, you just researched this,
so
but they're talking about,
stupid people.
They're stupid people. About the, fentanyl epidemic, and a lot of the people that overdose they're playing with fire, and then they OD. Well, it's a clean sweep. But there's a lot of people. I know what you're going to say, and you're right. You're right.
What was I going to say?
Well, I think you were probably going to say that there's a lot of people who OD when they don't realize it. Like they're not. What?
No. There's two things going on now that weren't going on before. When I was starting to do this deep dive on the fentanyl and the opioid thing, I've gone into the past, and then I was like, wait a second, something doesn't seem right. And then I dug stuff up, and I'm like, wait a second, this doesn't seem right. And then that's why I'm kind of going back, because I'm like, this is important. But the stuff that I haven't gotten into yet, that I've heard about from news stories, and some of you might have heard, and also from reading in that article, the fentanyl issue now is because it's so cheap for the drug dealers that they know how freaking insanely, it's like probably the most addictive thing on the planet. So what they're doing, they're putting it in everything. They're putting it in weed. They're putting it on like, let's say you're getting a relaxant tab. They're putting it in everything, and things that you think, like, this is the recreational drug dealers. But if somebody thinks that they're just going to get a muscle relaxant, guess what? And there's such a minuscule, like a couple of grains of salt will kill a person.
That's my point. If you're going to F around with drug dealers, you're the lowest hanging fruit, homie. I'm sorry, but that's reality. And to the ones who would love to eliminate a bunch of useless eaters is what Gigi is letting me know they're called.
The thing is that when they started over prescribing the opioids, the Oxycontins in the 90s, people were already addicted. So, and I haven't gotten into this, and the whole Sackler family and all of that, who they're Purdue. So what they did was, and this is kind of going back into stuff I haven't talked about yet. If you guys are interested in learning this, come to my page and subscribe, because I'm just going to keep doing this, because the more I'm learning, the more I'm like, oh my God. Like, I think that's
incredible value. Listen, girl, look, Mark's having an awakening. He's processing some stuff right now based on what you've been adding to this conversation. So the way you're approaching your information and your learning and the way you're presenting it clearly provides value. So
I want to know why. I want to know why. Because first of all, as I'm reading this, first they're saying the first opioid crisis in our country was, and if you guys haven't, I'm just going to kind of just gloss over it real quick. They were saying that in the article I read for the class, they were saying that the first opioid epidemic that we've had in our country was the late 1800s, early 1900s. Now, that was about the time that Bayer actually produced heroin. At that time, heroin wasn't what we think of as heroin today. It wasn't a street drug. It was an actual medication that Bayer was making, because they thought they were making something that was diluted and safer, but it wasn't. It's a whole mess. So by that point, it's very dangerous. Like all opioids, the more I'm learning about it, I'm like, wow, don't even do it. So it was so freaky because it almost mirrors exactly what's happening today. So a woman, think back in Victorian days, all right, she might have be sick. And they didn't have things we have today in the late 1800s. It was medicine was different. They didn't have a lot of things. So she would go
and they didn't really have different diagnoses either. It was like, you're just sick. It's not like, oh, you got postpartum, or, oh, you've got this or that or the other thing.
Right.
They're just like blanket, you're sick.
And the amount of people who died just from diarrhea, from eating the wrong food, the deaths were much higher. So at that time, when they created morphine and all of those things, there were people just dying all the time. You'd get a cold and you could die. I mean, in the early 1800s, they didn't have antibiotics until like closer to the end of the 1800s, because I was looking that up too. They actually came up with the syringe before they knew about germs, which is crazy to me. But yeah, so I wanted to know why, when I first read it, in that first video I did, I was like, that doesn't sound right to me, for that to be the first opioid crisis right then. Because they said that opioids were being used by doctors in the mid-1800s. That's like 1845, 1850, whenever the Civil War was. And so I'm going, wait a second, that doesn't seem right. If these kind of medications are that addictive that people are taking it, like in the early 1900s, you're sick, you're in pain, and you go to the pharmacist and they give it to you like it's aspirin, and then because they don't know, and then all of a sudden you have all these addicts, and then, they didn't know. But I thought, how is that the first time? So when I did the lookup, I found out that there was an epidemic around right after the Civil War, that all those soldiers were coming home and they were opioid addicts and they brought it home. So they called it the soldier's disease. But then, I've been going back, and then I wanted to know, okay, opium has been around for centuries. I'm like, how long has it been with us as a civilization? Turns out it's been with us as long as written history. So every civilization, every culture has had opium. So I'm still kind of trying to find, because I've seen it alluded to that cultures or dynasties have been just destroyed by it. So, I'm having a hard time. But it's bad. And then I was thinking, well, the second one I did, I was still trying to figure out the gentleman who created morphine. That was the very first opium that was turned into an actual medication that doctors could use. And I was like, well, they know this opium thing is awful. I know that they knew about China, they knew about the opium dens, and I can't remember like where in that vicinity it happened, but they knew about opium, and opium had been used for pain and other things, I think, in our country, maybe even going back like 100 or two before that. But what happened was, doctors would use opium for pain, but when you were preparing it holistically from a plant, like you would, like the pod, they cut it, and this sap, they call it latex, comes out, and that's what you would turn into the drug. But because each actual plant has a different concentration of the actual alkaloid, that is the active ingredient, that is the pain management, there were people who they were trying to put it in such a way that it was safer for patients. And so what happened was, a doctor might have somebody who had surgery and they didn't have anesthesia yet. They didn't. Think about this, guys. If you had to go into surgery, they did it as a last resort, because if you were on the battlefield, or even before that, if you had to go to the doctor and you have your pancreatitis, you're going to die from something, and they have to cut you open. You don't know if you're going to live. And I'm sorry, they're cutting in you without pain meds. That's my worst nightmare. That's like horror movie, but that's what it was.
Especially for men, we know that women have a higher pain tolerance by a long shot. So for
And they
a
didn't think
man
that.
to be cut open is like,
It was bad. It was
you
bad.
know.
And when they were trying to make medication for patients, when the doctors were trying, not the opium dens, people using it as a drug, they couldn't. So they give it to one person, and maybe this poppy plant had an incredible amount of the alkaloid that is morphine. So there's a couple of alkaloid that's in the poppy plant. There is morphine, codeine. There's another thing I don't know, and I can't remember if it's like 3 or 4 of them. So the person in the early 1800s who figured out how to get the alkaloid out, that is now what we think of as morphine, that was the very first medicine. Before that, you could give, one patient would die, and another patient wouldn't have enough of the alkaloid from that plant, because this plant over here has less than this one. So you take the same amount from both plants. One patient would be dying because they had too much and it was poison. And then this one didn't have enough and it didn't work. So they were trying to create something that they could figure out exactly the dose. And they knew that this is not good, but they thought if we can figure out a way to use just the right amount so it can be effective and give treatment to patients so they can survive, so they can go.
That perspective, though, that perspective, unfortunately, is flawed in the sense that they're treating like human beings like we came off an assembly line.
No. You have to look at the time. So that was the early 1800s. This was like 100 years before there was Washington.
But what I mean is, like, there's got to be that perfect dose, right? But people themselves are so different. Like, that's what I mean. Like, all humans aren't going to have that one perfect dose. You've really got to get back into...
Yeah. So today in modern medicine, that's what they do with all medication.
Do they? That makes sense. Yeah.
So when I was taking my nursing classes, anyone who's interested in learning about medicine and this sort of thing, there's instructions. So let's say you're putting a medication in a saline, with the saline, or kind of on the side, like you're going to put it in a port and give them medicine. So there's instructions, and you do have to do the conversions because sometimes the instructions are per kilogram or of weight, and sometimes they're for the however many pounds a person weighs. So it tells you how many milligrams of this per pound the person weighs. So, and then they also know all about that now. So modern day medicine, they do that. Back then, they didn't have it. They had this plant, and it was the only thing they had, and they didn't have anesthesia.
What about what do you mean, though? I mean, natives, ancients, they didn't have anesthesia. They had to. I mean, they had all kinds of medicinal herbs, and you lick a toad and you get knocked out for 20 minutes. That's enough time to perform a surgery.
That would be like a different conversation because I don't know. It's apples and oranges. I don't know if it compares because I am just looking at the dawn of modern medicine and why. Of course, I wanted to know, why they created it. Did they know then? Now, they thought because they didn't have a way to measure the exact amount to give you the right dose. Mm-hmm. And ironically, William Sertner is he was a pharmacist. I actually don't want to say too much because I want to talk about it in my next video, but it turns out that and this is one of the things that I wanted to find out more about him because I want to say, well, why did he do this? Because shortly after he ended up becoming addicted. And this was in my video number 2. So if you guys go to my page, look in my playlist and go to the one that says Learn With Me. And I just started doing these videos because I was studying this for a class, but it became so interesting and people were actually interested that I knew that were friends of mine, and they were reading it or watching it and they're like, this is great, do more. So yeah, I did that one on this topic. So
Shifty's out of here.
Bye.
Thanks for being here and contributing to the chat. That's great. We're really
Happy 4th of July.
That you did. And come back again soon. Bye, Shifty. Shifty 247.
Yeah, I have so many questions. I have so many questions because I still have to fill in a gap. So I have to fill in the gap of what happened between this time that not only they made heroin illegal in the early 1900s. Now that's going back, that's going forward. Think of that, 100 years of progress. Now, I think back to the early 1800s, I'm not remembering my history class. All I'm thinking of is Victorian times, and my brain isn't going back. But I guess that George Washington was only like 100 years before that. And I was like, I didn't realize. I'm thinking like the early pilgrims. I'm not. So this is actually going back way. Okay, we didn't have sewer systems yet. Like we didn't have cleanliness. People thought you got sick from bad airs. They didn't realize that you need sanitation. They didn't. Oh, you gotta watch. I have a video that I put up on like my that feed. I mean that
the community
tab. The one that talks about the medicine in the 1800s, and it has this girl, and her page, she does all this stuff from back in history, and that video is so perfect and explains like the progress of medicine, what we take for granted. People were dying all the time back then because they didn't have basic sanitization. They didn't have antibiotics. They didn't have vaccines. They didn't have things that now we have a good quality of life. Yes, there's dangerous things out there, but there's a much greater chance of you living, right?
Well, but there's much greater chance of you dying from your own bad choices these days instead of just like literally the lack of medical care, which is very interesting. It's like we've become so developed that now the things that can kill us really are just lifestyle choices.
Do you know what the common life expectancy was in the early, I don't know if it was the 1800s or the 1900s, it might have been the 1900s. You know what the life expectancy was?
65.
40.
What? In America?
Like 40 or 45. Yep. Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Yes, it's like, it's hard for us because we're kind of detached. It's like, go watch that video, because when you see her with her saw, and then you start seeing the first times that surgeons were actually trying to develop anesthesia and all of these things, you realize, wow, that was nuts. And they took pride. They wore their apron with all this blood and guts. They didn't have like the scrubs they do today. They would just take their saw that they just had surgery with that patient, they'd wipe it off, and then go to the next one because they didn't know.
Yeah.
Isn't that crazy?
It is crazy because how could they not know that?
They didn't know back then.
How?
Go watch that video.
There's just so much ancient knowledge. I guess that's what it was, is they just weren't connected to the ancient wisdom. I mean,
correct.
You know, we have that connectivity now where we can learn everything that any tribe knew, but they didn't know.
We're not racist now. Like, well, there is racism, but if you look at the way the culture was in the early 1900s, women didn't vote. Women didn't leave the house. I mean, this was a different time. Reality was different. Your life expectancy was different. You couldn't necessarily go, there was no health insurance. And even if you went to the doctor, there was no guarantee you would get better. They had to do the best with what they had.
Right.
And they just did not discover germs yet. They didn't even, I think they discovered germs somewhere between it was just before the 1900s. So that's why I like that video, because it actually, I thought, I have to add this to the community tab. I actually should go ahead and
do it. I know what you're going to say, do it. Make a video with it.
I think it's long.
A reaction video. That's okay.
I don't know how to do it yet. I need to get editing stuff on my phone.
Because that's a
I only have the
feature.
Yeah, I don't have lives yet. I have to get 50 people, and I just got another person yesterday, but it's slow. It's slow going. I get 22 people.
It's a snowball effect. Just keep doing your thing.
Yeah.
Right now, it's good that it's not blowing up because you're still discovering what you're bringing to the table.
Yeah.
And this discovery, I think, some people can look at it and be like, oh, it's just so sloppy. The way to like become a YouTuber like this is sloppy. But I've learned so much more about myself than in any other one single thing I've ever done, really. I'm learning a lot about just me in so many different ways.
Mark asked you to put a link to my page. So if I will spell it, if you guys want to write it, does that help? Can I type it in the comments?
Yes.
Can I do that?
And you can type it in the comments and then they'll be able to see your logo. Yeah, do that.
I don't know if it'll let me. Oh, it's not. Hold on. It won't let me. And I think because I don't know how to do it. Yeah, I think because, oh wait, let me see if I'm scrolled up. Yeah, I am. I think because I'm on with you.
Is this correct? But I think if you guys look in the description.
LadyPhoenix. Yes. So it's lady and then Phoenix the bird _111. Correct.
So copy and paste that, or probably in the description of the video itself, because we're together, it would have a link, I'm presuming. But do that. Cruise over there and definitely subscribe because this is her area. And she, gets real technical, as you can tell. I mean, I think
I geek out.
Awesome.
I'm not an expert. I'm not a doctor. I'm not a nurse. I have the need to geek out. I have that father who raised me who was that science guy. And I don't want to say like he dumbed it down, but he would say things in such a way that I could understand so it wasn't overwhelming. And I could ask him anything from string theory, quantum mechanics, particles, chemistry, physics. So I'm not like, I don't remember a lot about the chemistry. I don't remember a lot about the math, but I find, and then I also love healthcare. And so I have that perspective. So I have some training with medical classes I've taken, and I was in nursing school for a year, and I did take all the anatomy, physiology, and I did take physiological chemistry and all of that.
See, I love physio. Physio is what made me really change my direction when I was in university from psychology to physio, because I'm like, if you heal the body, the mind will follow, and then whatever's left over is what you need to deal with. But you've got to heal the body first. And I'm like you. I love neurology.
I need to know why.
Now they're realizing the brain is actually a quantum machine. It's a quantum organ.
It's crazy, all the things it can do. Well, we have all those different lobes, okay? And there is another guy that I'll actually send this to you. There is a documentary that I saw, and
hold on one second. Gigi says, and now the times are so different from the fairly civilized way we grew up. That there are now brawls on cruise ships. The world, people have lost their friggin' minds.
I think so. I kind of have a feeling, part of me feels like it has to do with, I noticed a shift. Like we've always had that percentage of people who were inconsiderate and narcissistic. Like if you've worked in customer service, like even when I first started working as a cashier or I worked at any store, there was a certain percentage of people who are just rude, because that's how it is across the board. If you have patients, anywhere you go, there's a percentage of people who are just assholes. I'm sorry, I have to swear. There's no way to say it. They're just assholes. And there are people who choose to be that way, and there's nothing you can do about it. So you do what you can to get them going. But I did notice that now that when the cell phone revolution happened with smartphones, so different. People walking around in their phone and everything's instant. I can do this now. And I don't know. I don't know if you've ever heard of, what's the word? In science, when you're doing studies, if something similar or happens at the same time, it doesn't correlate. It doesn't necessarily mean that's the cause, but
causation
to me,
does not mean
correlation.
Doesn't mean causation. Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know, but that seems to happen around the same time, and it's almost like rudeness started to become the norm. So behavior, I can't like put those two things, like the development of medicine. That's like science. That is the development of our knowledge of medicine and safety and how to have a sterile environment and how doctors do their job and how they develop technologies and cures for diseases. That part of our development, I feel like that's a different topic from the social aspect of how we're all treating each other. So yeah, they're all kind of happening at the same time, but yeah, I see what you're saying, Gail, because there are, and the one day I had, like, I don't know, a few weeks ago before I got sick, I just had this one day that I had it, and I was just tired. And I think I was getting burned out from the studying, even though I was only working 2 days a week. I just had this one day that I just had it. And people weren't necessarily mean that day, but they would walk up and start talking to me before I finished saying bye to the person. And it just was happening all night long. Like, people walk up and you're talking with a customer and they talk over you. They don't even say, excuse me. And you have no idea what they said. And you stop and you look and you're thinking to yourself, you asshole, I have ADHD. So you guys just talked over each other and it neutralized it. It just sounded like a bunch of blah, blah, blah. Now I can't remember what I was doing with her, who I was helping, and you're a fucking asshole because you shut up, mind your manners, and go wait in the fucking line like everyone else. But you can't say that shit. And I'm just like, what is happening with people? I'm sorry. So yeah, that's why I think I might have taken it down. I'm like, public service announcement, please be patient with your cashiers. It happens so much. Like, I end up having dreams about it. Like, somebody will be in the other aisle and they'll start talking to me. And I feel like going, do you see me talking to a person in front of me who I'm helping? And you're mad that I didn't hear what you said? You know that everything I need to learn about life I learned in kindergarten? Wait your turn. Say yes, please, and thank you.
Here's
Wash
the thing
your
I
hands.
have to say about
Nobody
that.
cares.
I just have to interject, because a lot of the times, and I'm going to say this, and
selfish.
Maybe it will change your perspective on it for a few people.
Mark. Mark is laughing. He's like 100%. Yep.
Yeah. For a percentage of those people, because
there were a lot of nice people
I'm
too.
guilty of that because I'm just going to throw it out there, like that autism thing. And so there's times when I'll interrupt and then I'll be like, oh, I just interrupted. And I'll be like, I am so, it's like, oh, I just did that. I'm so sorry.
No. Those people, I catch myself doing that too. And then I apologize. So if somebody does that and I can see they didn't realize it, I said, don't worry. It's the assholes who are just narcissists.
Yeah.
I used to work in a store, same company. I won't say which company, but I used to work in a different.
I'm kidding.
I still work there. I don't want to. I still work there. So until I leave, which if you guys can get like enough people to come, so I can actually like.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I'll have her so she can live stream. And
build
she
my
can
hours
make these
up.
Reaction videos and get the subs and get everything so
cool
that she can monetize. Stuff. Yeah, because there's a whole world of people awakening to this and realizing they need to know more. And you bring that element of, okay, you can say that you're not an expert, but there's no one who's more of an expert on ADHD than someone with ADHD.
Yeah, because you have no choice. You have no choice.
We've got to make communities where everyone is an expert together. Collectively, we're experts. The medical industry is no expert on this stuff.
The people who are, and I'm not talking about the Sackler family, and I'm not talking about Big Pharma, the ones who are trying to profit, but the people who are in development and trying to come up with cures for diseases. I live in Massachusetts, and I want to say, I am so grateful that we live in this time. My mother was diagnosed with multiple myeloma in 2008. I don't know, did I tell you about this, Gail? She has a form of bone marrow cancer. And it was me going through a separation and then a divorce of her coming and helping me move my stuff that she had at her back. Then she got an x-ray and found out she had it. So we were lucky to catch it. Yeah, so it had spread throughout all her bones, and I will totally geek out on cells if you guys want me to, and it's cool. And I like to explain things in ways that make it cool and absorbable, you know, so cool. But it's not cool if you have it, but it's cool. So like,
it is important, and I've heard people who've been diagnosed with something, and they're like, it was so helpful for me to understand that it's not me, it's a thing happening.
Oh, the ADHD?
No, when it comes to like having a disease, or it was actually.
Oh, that's why. Sorry.
No,
I was going to say that I got sidetracked. Of course I did. Cliche, but that's okay. That's why we're here. But yeah, so when they first diagnosed her, so basically I'll just say really briefly, what cancer really is, if you guys want to know what cancer really is, it's a cell in your body.
A virus?
Sometimes viruses cause it. It's when a cell, your own cell, and it can be anywhere, and the different places and the different types of cell that decide to start multiplying and mutate, we actually all have cancer in our body. But if you have a functioning immune system, you have these cells that are like little police guys, and they go around, squirrel, they go around. So, hey, Mark, do you want me to geek out? They're cells that have like these proteins, right? And it's like you're a driver and the policeman pulls you over and says license and registration. And they see, are you okay? So you've got these cells that go around your body, and so with your immune cells, like your white blood cells and all of that, you have all these different kinds of white blood cells. You have ones that go after particles. You have ones that go after allergens. You have ones that go after bacteria. You have ones that go after viruses. They all do different jobs, right? There are ones that check your own cells to look for when they mutate. So our cells show proteins. It's almost like license and registration on the outside of our cells, right? And so the police guy comes and goes, checks them all. And as soon as he sees, there's an abnormal protein, that one mutated, he's not right. He's like, woo,
pull over. Woo,
yeah, you know what he does?
Pull over.
He puts genetic instructions into the cell, injects his instructions into the cell to tell the cell to kill itself. And it's called apoptosis, and it is how you and I do not get cancer, because that is happening in our body all the time. So anyone who gets cancer, it's because when whatever type of cancer they got, that cell started mutating, their immune did not recognize it. And so it started to go. And my mom, so breast cancer is a certain kind of cell that mutates and starts to multiply. My mom's is a bone marrow cancer. It's inside the bone marrow. But for hers, that particular type of cell is a white blood cell. So it is like leukemia and lymphoma. It's actually grouped into that. It's a blood cancer. So what ends up happening is when you have a type of blood cell that decides, I'm going to party, it deforms. It's like a mutated thing. So now that mutated funky cell that's not doing what it's supposed to do, and he decides, I'm just going to eat holes in your bones, and it eats all the calcium and it dumps it in the blood. So it's boxing your kidneys. You have no idea it's there. There aren't any symptoms. So you get holes throughout all your bones. But worse than that, what happens is, what's that white blood cell supposed to do? It's supposed to go around and do its job and keep everything healthy. Well, if this thing is just like proliferating, regular cells, they'll live, they'll do a job, and they know when to die because they're starting to get weak and they're not good anymore. And new ones are constantly being formed. So everything stays functioning top, keeping you well. This guy starts to multiply. Now imagine you've got the red blood cells going through all your veins, and what do? They take out any of the toxins in your muscles and your tissues, and then they also oxygenate it every time you breathe, and your blood goes through your heart, and then it gets pumped, and it brings the nutrients from your food as well as all of that. So, and then you have all those other cells, the white blood cells that are in there. Now, if you have a white blood cell that takes over, now it's not dying when it's supposed to, so you keep a certain amount. It's starting to crowd out all of your other cells. Now, when she got diagnosed in 2008, they gave her 5 years. the treatment for this particular type of cancer, because it's an immune cell, what they do is, tell me guys if I'm being really boring.
No, but I do want to just interject real quick. Two things. My phone is running out of battery and I'm plugged into the port. So with my microphone. The other thing is I know how exhausting it can be to go past 90 minutes. So we're going to chat for about maybe 7 more minutes because I don't want you to burn out because you can crash and burn after doing too long of a live.
No, I'm good because this is fun. And I'm talking to you. So I'm not, me working an 8-hour shift at work dealing with assholes, I'm getting mad. And I'm holding that in and it's draining me. I don't have that here. I'm around other neurodivergents. So I'm psyched. I'm like, woo!
It takes a lot.
Yeah, you're right.
You're
Good
expending
stress
a lot
is
of
still
energy.
stress.
You're very excited. And it's just like when you get Reiki. If you don't stop when you need to stop, you'll get burned out. Even if it's high energy, you'll burn out a little bit.
No, you're right. You're right. I'm learning balance.
Mark, it's interesting because there actually is an AI that just recently came out, a couple different AIs where she could take this transcript, pull out all the parts of her telling the story, feed it through this AI, and it will put together, you can construct and build an animated cartoon with it, just like you're saying, the analogies of the police, checking the registration and everything. Yeah, you're very
I'm visual.
And those analogies work, for adults and kids. Yeah, that's good stuff. Hi, Crawl.
Thing is, hello. So the thing is, I think it's really important when you learn science, and especially for kids if they start to learn science. Yes, especially if you're doing chemistry. Yes, if you're learning about atoms, you have to do math, and I suck at math. I mean, I can do it, but then I'll forget the type of form. I hate math. But for me, if you make it relatable, it makes it cool. It makes you want to learn more. To me, if I hear that story that, wow, we have these police cells that go around and they check to make sure your cells aren't not becoming cancerous, that is fucking awesome. That's badass. That makes me appreciate my body. That's amazing. Yeah. That is amazing. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, and learning how to keep those things running properly and keep the cancer cells out. I mean, even like fasting, people are talking about fasting more and more. That puts your body into hyper overdrive where it goes around and cleans up all the junk.
That makes sense because you have toxins that build up.
Yeah, it goes like the first thing it starts eating is all the mutated cells. It's like,
oh God, there's so much in our environment. I'm very fortunate. Sorry, my mouth's getting dry.
AI.
I'm very fortunate.
AI is the way to do it.
Did I tell you? So ADHD is genetic mostly, but you can have a condition that they will call ADHD and is basically functioning the same from like a head accident, right? A head trauma. You can also get it from if you had lead exposure as a child. I am one of the lucky that has had the trifecta, baby. I am a child that grew up in the 70s and 80s. I had lead paint poisoning as a baby. When I was 2, I crawled out of a carriage and fell and cracked my skull open right here. I don't know how. I
played with mercury in my hand.
I think I did that once when a thermometer broke and I had no idea.
Yeah. I think my mom was involved. Me and my mom and my sister standing around going, ooh. I'm not mad about it. I didn't know. It was cool. I think I'm smart enough. Any smarter and it would just make life harder.
The thing that really sucks about the heavy metals is that I think there's some like chelating things. I never pronounce that right. That you can get some, but you can never get all of it. It's it's always going to be there.
But
and it does,
our
neurological damage.
Yeah, I know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I know. Right.
And
we're so resilient as humans. It's amazing, isn't it? Amazing what we can do and still live. And then the slightest little thing, a bump on the head, and you're like,
yeah. If you want to see something interesting, there is another relatively new content creator. It is, I don't know if you've ever seen those shorts where the guy's just like, I'm neurotypical. My wife is neurodivergent. And they do like a funny little thing. His name's Adam something. Go look them up because she is autistic and ADHD. And her special interest is poisons. So her and her husband, they have a podcast called The Poisoner's Almanac. And it turns out that she was a nurse. So it's very interesting they get into this. And there is one episode where they talk about lead poisoning. And it's kind of like what I was doing, going back in history, learning about opioids. That's what she did. She did a deep dive. And back probably the early 1900s, maybe, she talked about this factory where they were actually, when they were leading the gasoline, and people were dying in the factory from the lead, but they actually became insane. They actually, first they had the neurological, this is how it goes.
It's like the Mad Hatter.
Exactly. It's poison. It's poison to the brain. So yeah, that can cause, it's one of the things that can cause ADHD.
I just need to stop and say hello to GeNeVieVe.
Hi.
This person has been missing my lives and begging me to do a live and missing my lives. And so welcome, Dove. We're actually just about to wrap this up. We've been on for an hour and a half now, which is
plenty. I should have kept telling. I just get, I'm excited.
It's pretty long enough, and my phone is about to die. And I have a habit of doing these live streams until my phone dies. So
I will do that. If I can do live, I don't care, because then people can leave and other people can jump in and I'll have fun. If anybody wants to geek out with me.
You know what, then I'm going to take my headphones off and I'm going to plug in. And don't hurt yourself, though.
No, we can go. I should, because
I'm going to listen on.
No, it's the fireworks are going off and I'm missing it.
Oh, I'm just not going to talk that much because I don't have my microphone on, but I'm going to plug in. And you keep rocking out.
But I do have to run to the restroom too. How long have we been on? An hour and a half?
That's what I was saying.
Doesn't feel like it.
Burn yourself out even though you're having a good time.
You're right.
You don't want to overdo it.
I'm totally hyper-focusing.
And we can do this anytime. I'm spontaneous about it. So we can jump on anytime, because even if I don't really feel like I have anything to talk about, you do the talking and I'll just help sort of direct a little bit.
Dove says, please don't let me down. Hey, do you guys mind if I run to the bathroom really quick and come right back?
No, go ahead.
Thank you. I'll be right back. I won't leave. If Dove wants me to stay on, I will stay, but I have to, yes, this will be bad. So I need to go, but I'll be back. Because she's saying, is Dove a guy or a girl? Are you a guy or a girl? Not that it matters, but hi, Dove, and I'll be right back. All right. Am I really loud? Sorry. I should probably close.
I don't think we have skewers.
It's so dark. Was there any good fireworks out there?
No. What do you need? To keep it like on the bread or something?
No, to keep it curled when I'm cooking it.
Oh. I used to like lay something on top of it. I don't remember what I used to use. So anyway, hi everybody. Thank you for being here. I know we only have a couple people on right now. Sherry's taking a break. I had to take my microphone off because my phone is dying and she just is a machine. She wants to keep going. And a wire hanger. I don't even think we have a wire hanger actually, but that's actually a good idea. He wants to, I don't know what he's doing, making bacon or something like that. Turkey bacon. No, honey, go right ahead. I'm just talking to the live stream. He was offering no wire hangers. Eva. Dove, where are you?
Yeah, she was telling me, I didn't really have good lighting. I had to bring like every single light I own.
So I'm gonna show her. I need to show her the lights that I have because I bought these cool little LED lights.
Hooray!
And you can take them out in public with you because they plug in USB. So I can either plug it into the wall and just let it be portable, or here in my home, or I can plug it into a portable charger, plug the USB in, and take these lights like outside with me or in the car, or like if I went camping or whatever and I'm outside and want to do like a live at night, I can do that, or any kind of video. And well, I wanted to show you my lights that I have. My desk is kind of a mess right now, but just
my whole house is a mess, girl.
See, and I've got another one over there, but I'm just using one right now. And it's got this little cable or a little clicker where you can change like the color of the light.
Oh, cool.
And you can make it brighter or dimmer.
I want one now.
And you can plug it into a little power source so you can take it outside with you.
That's so cool.
I've got 2 of them if I want to, you know, I don't mind the straight on lighting at all. But that's what I want to show you. These lights were like $35, girl.
Not bad.
I did so much research.
I haven't bought anything yet. Legit. I have 1, 2, 3 light bulbs right next to me and every single light on. And should I tell everybody what I'm going to be doing for my next couple series of videos if they're interested before we go?
Totally.
Do you guys want to hear?
Download this and email it to you too. So
Thank you. I need the hours. So I'm really new, guys. So you might see like once a week a coloring book page. Don't worry about that. Disregard it. I was sick like a week or 2 ago and I had no energy and I felt like, oh, I just started this channel and then like I couldn't do videos for a couple of weeks because I was sick. So I'm like, I can color. And I don't have a lot of content. So I use those to kind of schedule every Monday. So you guys can just ignore the coloring book pages. Don't worry about that. They're kind of boring. You can watch them if you want. But what I want to do is I definitely want to do some videos with interests, fun things. I live near a lake. There are swans. We have a bald eagle family. Definitely. Hi, Dove. Nice to meet you. Oh, you're in India? Wow. I've never traveled. I would love to go there. It must be beautiful. All the rich colors and the spices in the food. There's so many good nutrition. Oh my God, turmeric. Yeah. Oh, Dove. One of my favorite things. This is from India. And I haven't hennaed my hair in like a year. And henna is amazing. I love henna. I love India. India is so cool. India's so cool.
Oh, absolutely.
So as far as so when I was first thinking, I've been thinking about doing a YouTube channel for a good 6 months to a year. And I kept going back and forth. I'm like, do I want to do neurodivergent content? And I've been struggling so much with trying to help myself as somebody with ADHD. And I've struggled with it for so many years. And it's taken me so long to come up with the things that have helped me that I definitely wanted to share that. So I'm like, should I do a channel for that? Or should I do a channel for all the art I like to do? We do at my house. Hi. Stained glass, mosaics, I paint, I make jewelry, I crochet. There's a sweater I made. I have blankets, scarves. I paint, accessories, purses, whatever. Here's the next one I did.
Oh, that's a nice one. Wow.
Yeah. So that one
I think the channel, this is why I changed the name of my channel to my name, because it's just going to be everything. I have a playlist. Yeah. When you go to create, you see playlist. That's where you put your coloring stuff is under one playlist. Your medical stuff is under another playlist.
Yeah.
Your historical, a medical historian. That's what you sound like, a medical historian.
Well, I get the curiosity. And something doesn't sound right to me. And I'm like, I have all these questions, just like you did with the skew button. It's not good enough. No, you guys are missing something here. I want to understand this. And I go look it up and I can't find it. And I'm like, I'm finding that information and I'm going to make something with it. Why are we here so late? And where I am, the fireworks have just finished. We celebrate 4th of July. It's the Independence Day of America. and that is today. And I think that the fireworks are coming to a close.
Are they right out on the water there in front of your place?
Well, it's actually down the street in my neighborhood. Like they do the town, so I could literally walk there, but the crowds are kind of bad. And on the lake, people all around the lake are setting off their own little fireworks. So we can just like go out on the porch and watch them.
Oh, so, wow. There's no, it's illegal here, of course, because it's so dry.
Well, I don't know if it's legal.
Oh.
If they get them. It's not legal in Massachusetts. It's legal in New Hampshire. And we don't live far from the next state over. And so people do that. As long as they're safe and, you know, people are doing things safe, I'm not gonna hate them. And it's nice to see, you know.
Yeah.
So it's 6:30 where you are p.m. So for you, it's like a little bit after dinner time. Are you?
Yeah, I mean, like, look, that's sunlight. It's so bright out.
It's pitch black. It's pitch black. Should I take my phone out there, guys? Do you want me to see if there's any fireworks, or would it just get really dark? Would it even show up? Do you think?
I don't know.
Okay.
Try it. We are up for an adventure.
Okay. You know how I did this? I took some hair ties and I attached my phone to a lamp.
That works. I'm always hanging my phone on.
Ooh, I thought I cut myself out. It went out for a second. Did I freeze up on you?
It went black for a second.
Okay.
New Hampshire. No, I think that's Nevada. Oh no, Nevada is Battleborn.
I'm in Eastern time. She's right. Gail is right. I'm on Eastern time. I'm near the East Coast.
Live free or die state. Live free or die.
New Hampshire, which is we can do a whole thing just on that someday. Okay. It's kind of ironic because there's some kind of culturally there's some crossover between Mass and New Hampshire, but it is a live free or die state. When it's funny, the rules and the laws about alcohol are totally different in the two states. Here, you cannot buy alcohol, liquor, anything unless you go to the liquor store. You can't get it at grocery stores or anything. If you go in New Hampshire, they do sell beer and wine legally in the grocery store. But to get liquor, you have to get it from their state liquor store. That's like right after you go across the border into the state off of the highway. And it's like New Hampshire state liquor store. Like you're not allowed to sell it anywhere else. I don't know why. Because it's the live free or die state. But
it
has to do with taxes. Yeah, because it was heavily regulated. You know, we used to have like in the early 1900s, they did the prohibition crazy thing because, you know, people still drank. And so maybe that's why they've had those laws since then. I don't know. But yeah, so as far as taxes go, you can get everything tax-free there. Anything you want to buy, really. There's no tax.
Where, in New Hampshire?
In New Hampshire. Yeah, you can go to the grocery store, you can buy a car, you can do anything except...
We have slot machines and like computerized gambling inside gas stations, grocery stores.
They're everywhere, huh?
And literally in the gas station, right on the corner, I can go in there and gamble right now. 7-Elevens.
We have Keno in the convenience stores, and you can do of course, the lottery and the scratch tickets. We do have some casinos. It did not used to be legal to gamble in Massachusetts, and that's a relatively new thing, but it didn't really matter because you could always drive to Rhode Island or Connecticut. They have the Mohegan Sun, and that's like owned by a tribe that's owned by Native Americans tribe, and I think New Hampshire, I don't remember where else. So yeah, we're close enough that it didn't matter, but yeah, so we have some casinos. We've got one in Boston. Boston. Because you park the car in Harvard Yard. I didn't realize till I did one of my videos and I was listening to it back and I'm like, I actually don't have a Mass accent. I'm like, wow,
No,
I sound kind of like this.
You have a newscaster accent.
I do. Well, when I was little,
that's like no accent.
You know what? I grew up in New Jersey when I was little, but my family's from here. So my dad got transferred for his job when I was a baby. So my first 14 years of my life, I grew up in New Jersey. But I'd see my family, and it's funny, they would make fun of me. Yep. And I was Sherry. Everything was R. And they'd be like, say Sherry, and then here it's Sherry. It's funny, everything's...
Say wash.
You drops... Wash.
Oh, you say that right. Wash.
Yeah, as far as like the Mass accent, I think it's funny, for me, it comes out when I'm yelling at one of the pets for some reason. Then it comes out. And one of my friends was like, you sound like you're from New York. I'm like, no, I'm doing the freaking Mass accent. I'm like, get over here. I can't do it. See, if I'm thinking about it, it won't come out right.
Yeah, exactly.
But then I'm like, yeah, and we don't drop all of our R's. That's the thing that's tricky. We'll drop certain ones, but not all of them. But yeah, if you want to see a funny thing with a Mass accent, what does Mark say? I'm way below you guys. Oh, here you go. I didn't got to catch up. So,
Warsh is Midwest. Oh, I don't know.
Oh gosh. What was I going to say? Oh, fine, Marky Mark. Fine, there's a thing where Mark Wahlberg shows you, like, they say certain words, and I'm like, they're like, bang a Yui. I'm like, bang a Yui. That must sound weird to you guys. Have you guys ever heard bang a Yui?
What is that?
Bang a U-turn. It's a U-turn. They call it a Yui.
Bang
so,
a Yui. Well,
bang a Yui.
But bang, I've never heard that. Like,
I don't know.
Like,
that's just a New England phrase for like, if you have to do a U-turn, like you took a wrong,
bang it out.
They're like, oh, bang a Yui. I don't know how that came from. That's a Mass thing. Hey, baby, what other things do we say here that they don't say? It's wicked everything. Wicked this, wicked that.
Yeah, I've heard that.
I still say that. You'll catch me saying that from time to time. Yes, it's a U-turn.
Flip a Yui. We say flip a Yui. That makes sense. But bang it, that's pretty cool. Bang it out.
Yeah, I can't remember the other terms, but yeah, it's hilarious. You got to find it. It's one of those. They kind of like flash the words, and he says it. He's like, you don't know what this is? Yeah, jimmies are sprinkles. We call them
What
jimmies.
is it?
Jimmies. Like the name Jimmy, like James, Jimmy. They call sprinkles jimmies.
Sprinkles.
Sprinkles on your ice cream.
Jimmies? Okay.
They call them jimmies. It's a New England.
That's
I don't know.
Cute. Well, it's like Midwestern. They say pop instead of soda.
Yeah, because it's soda pop. Some places they call all soda Cokes.
Oh,
and I don't remember where that is.
Makes me want a Coke, actually.
Lady Phoenix, what a matching color of your watch? Oh, it's a total coincidence. I can't. I'm so clumsy. I break every one I've had. But yeah, if you forget to drink water, this is my entire day's worth of water. Wow. I forget constantly. So I did Mark's. And then I have an app on my phone because I'll forget. Yesterday, I only had half of it. So this is good. This means that I had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.5 glasses throughout the day. So I'm doing good.
How many is that? You said 64?
It's a little bit more than 8. So when I measured it with the measuring cup, I did, because I knew these weren't accurate, and it turned out they weren't.
The total thing is 64 ounces, you're saying?
It's 64 up to here, and then there's another one. If you fill it all the way up to the top, it's... Yeah, see, that's not right. They said this is 64, but that's 64, because I measured it. Because you know what? That's my brain, because I don't accept it.
I tested my measuring cups. I got some new measuring cups from like Ross, and I'm like, there's always a reason that stuff is at Ross because there's something wrong with it. So I actually measured it to make sure that it was a cup and half a cup.
Was it? Yeah, that's good. But these are like,
I don't.
This was just in this. This was just like in. Yeah, this was just in the seasonal, and I got it last summer in where I work. So it was just like in the seasonal aisle with all the summer stuff. So if you get one of these, I just use a Sharpie, and then I put packaging tape, so when I throw it in the wash, it'll still be there. And then what happens is, because I still forget, See, I could go the whole day if I don't have reminders. And at the end of the day, I'll see that I didn't drink anything because I'll forget. And that I recently learned about. Both ADHD and autistic people can have. It was Mike, the autistic AF guy, that I learned it from. The poor interoception. It was either him or another one. And then I looked it up to learn about it. But yeah, so I'm like, that's why when I was studying and I burned myself out, I sat in the same spot for 4 hours. I didn't even think, I didn't get the message from my body that I needed to drink. I didn't get the message from my body I had to use the bathroom. We didn't have that. Sometimes we don't get the message, so I'll forget. And then I have an app on my phone that it will pop up a message every couple hours, say drink water. And then like I can record it. So I can go back and see how much water I'm drinking each day and say, oh, I'm getting bad. I need to start remembering it. So it kind of helps me.
That's really interesting because when I set alarms, my mind blocks them out. I can't, it doesn't work for me to do lists and alarms and dings and bells.
Well,
I just like, I'll push it before, like I'll be doing something, an alarm will come up on my phone and I'll push it before I even look at what it is.
I know it's there and I chose to put it there. It's almost like I'm owning it. It's something I want to be there because then when I did get annoyed, because you'll go back and forth when you try different things. You'll have that motivational curve where something's novel and new and you're like, oh, this is cool, and you'll do really good. And then it gets boring and you're like, yeah, I don't want to deal with this. It's annoying now. And you stop doing it. And then I just kind of turned the notifications off. And then immediately, the very next day, I had filled this in the morning. And by the end of the day, didn't have any. And then the next day was the same thing. So I was like, oh, I really do need the reminder. So yeah, I can disregard it, but so like if I'm at work and I'm ringing a customer up and I see it, it's on silent, but I see it.
Right.
And it pops up and I'm like, oh, and that I will remember because I'll be walking around going, why am I so tired? Oh my God, I can't think straight. Oh, well, your brain is dehydrated. Right. It's not good. So I try. I'm trying.
What do you do about electrolytes? And Mark was also asking about plastic leaching. So the plastic, when it sits like water bottles and stuff like that, it sits in the water bottle, that's going to leach. But something like this, for example, where I've got a liquid in there for just a short period of time, that I'm not worried about at all.
You know what? I'm weighing.
Use, like, you know.
But that's the thing. It's just like medicine. So a lot of people don't know. They think if something's prescribed to you, it's safe. It's not safe. What happened was it is the harm to benefit ratio. So what's more harmful to me is to not drink water all day long, right? Than getting a little plastic. So if my liver and my kidneys and my body's doing its job and is able to filter it out, it's not heavy metals. I don't know. I know that it's not good for me, but me not drinking all day long is really bad. That's probably worse. So until I find a better solution, if I had one of these that was glass, I would do it. But when I have tried this is a thing too. Another lady who has an autistic page, she's like, I have so many flasks. She calls them flasks. She's in Canada. It's a thing. It's like, I've tried like 5 or 6 different ones. I tried to go smaller. And for some reason, I don't use them. And if this is the one I use, this is what I got. So eventually, ideally,
I've got like 3 cups in rotation all the time.
Yeah.
For different things that I drink throughout the day.
Like if they make this in glass, I would do that. It would be a little heavier, but I don't care. I'd do it. But if I do the ones where you can't see through them, I'll just be like, yeah, whatever. I'll think I won't be. This immediately tells me being able to see this is my reminder. The note on my phone saying, hey, you haven't drinking in like 3 hours. I'm like, well, let me go take a sip.
Because you kind of attach it's like your bubba, you know?
It comes with me everywhere, and it protects my brain.
Would I lie to you? Oh, yeah.
Would I lie to you, honey? Oh, honey, would I lie?
Now would I say something
that wasn't true? I love that song. I said, you sugar, would I lie to you? My friends know what's in store. I won't be here anymore. The other day when you sang, I think you were doing that Run DMC song, and I'm like, I love that song. Like, as soon as you started doing that, I'm like, it's tricky to rock a rhyme, it's right on time, it's tricky. Boom, 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 boom. I was like singing it the rest of the day.
That was super random, girl. I didn't expect anybody to
You're like,
know
what?
that.
You know that?
Yeah,
I'm like, yep.
That was my thing. Because I grew up in a town where I was playing that music and wearing the high top tennis shoes a full school year before everybody else, and I got picked on for it and bullied.
They're gonna pick on us anyway.
Like, whatever, you guys are really behind. And the next year, they're all trying to do it. It's like I've already moved on to the next thing.
Yep. This girl made fun of me because my mom made these clips that had the fabric bows. They all made fun of me because I was the one they were gonna pick on. So that was the thing she picked. Let me tell you, I stopped wearing that thing and she wore one next week because that's how kids are, because they suck. Tricky from my, is he saying my Sharona? My Sharona. Dun 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 dun. Yeah, he's right. They do sound alike. Dun, 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 dun. Yes. You know, I have these two songs that sound similar to each other, and I've been thinking about this, and I'm like, I really, just for the hell of it, I'm going to put them, mush them together if I can learn how to do it. Yes, my Sharona. And that's the same thing. That dun 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 dun. Wow, maybe they sampled it. Maybe they sampled it for that song. It's tricky to rock.
I wonder if they did. I'm gonna look it up.
Yes, Dove. I'm shaking my. I'm like it's gonna fall. Yes, Dove. Gail is.
Oh my God.
GeNeVeeve's.
You're right.
Gail is GeNeVeeve's mom. What?
Did Mark? Did you know?
He said it sounded like it.
No, it is. That's what.
Oh.
In addition to sampling my Sharona.
Dove, you're my favorite person right now.
It's tricky.
I didn't know either.
Yeah. Structure of Mickey by Tony Basil. So they sampled my Sharona and used the entire vocal structure of Mickey.
Really?
Oh, Mickey, you're so fine, you're so fine.
You're so fine, you blow my head, Mickey.
It's tricky. They
tricky.
It sounds like this. Wow, good ears.
Look, he's like, I didn't know. So yeah, there is an NXS song, and sometimes I'll watch these Gen X people. I know I look very young. This is makeup. This is a lie. I used to work with makeup.
I think you should put your hair down. Put your hair down.
I was like, I'm wearing my hair down. It'll look better. But yes, I'm approaching 50. I don't look it.
Take that out.
What, this? Oh, but the thing is that then it goes in my face and then it's like a sensory thing and I freak out. I get triggered by it. You need to get bangs. I used to have bangs.
Hello, Jason. Thank you for joining us.
Jason Statham.
Jason jumped on. Too harsh on ourselves. What did we say? What did we do?
Yeah, we're talking about our hair. Debbie Phoenix, I want to join you and GeNeVeeVe every day. Yay! I was saying we should do this once a week at least because it's fun.
Yeah, sure thing. I mean, we could do coffee with dogs together. I mean, and you're about to have your own live. It won't take you long to get your 50 people.
I feel like every week I get 2 people, but I'll take it. Because I'm new and I don't know what I'm doing yet. I'm learning. I'm really overwhelmed, actually. So what I was going to say before, if you guys are interested, as far as the ADHD videos that I want to do, there's at least 3 different categories. And so I was like, wow. The last couple days, I would spend hours going over some notes I already had, some things about different topics, and I'm like, okay. So I'm like doing all of this in my head. Okay, I want this. So it took up all my time. I haven't been able to make them yet. Can we fix a particular time?
Not in my reality, but maybe in Lady Phoenix's reality.
I don't know. Jason, you have a lot of positive energy. Woohoo! You know what? That's how I'm at work. Because luckily, see, the thing is, the particular store, if so, yes. Yep. Yay. Thank you, Mark. And Mark, do you do videos too? Does anybody else do videos? We'll support you too. Dove wants to make an appointment.
Yeah. I think that sounds fine.
You know what?
You guys make an appointment.
You know what? When people are having fun, they know. Yeah. So when I sold skincare, I'm not, okay, as long as you're telling the truth and you're not conceited, I'm not conceited, I kicked ass. And you know why?
I bet you did.
You know why?
Because you love other people. It's customer service.
Yes, I never lie. I never lie to the customers. Right. And if I have this little old lady who's coming in and she's living on Social Security, I'm not going to get her to buy a $50, $100 jar of cream. No, I'm not. And they might get mad and I don't care. And then when we would have event days, I would see what do they want? What do they want to get? And also, I had to make sure that I did all the education and look those companies up and make sure they were good. And if I thought they were good, then I would promote them. And the thing is, if you're really excited, people feel it, you know, if you're happy about things, people feel it, and that's contagious, you know?
Well, and credibility,
because you're genuine.
too. When you go over and above and give them extra information, they're like, thank you for that. I know when I was selling clothes even, I would find out what are you trying to achieve? Because they'll pick out clothes and then it's like, okay, what are you trying to achieve?
Right.
Let me actually suggest some things. And I would fill them in on like body type and like, this is going to give you the exact same thing you're trying to achieve. But this, you know, I just love on them and help them really look better than they might have before, you know?
You can be genuine and kind.
Yeah.
So if something looks really bad or something is not right for someone, you're not going to tell them it's right. But there's a way that you can
love this. Like, I think you'd love this and give them a different option that's better fit.
There's a way you can tell somebody that something's not flattering.
Yeah, that's
you know, just say it's not flattering. And they know because they're like, I don't know, what do you think? And be like, I don't think that shape is as flattering for your body type as this other shape.
Yeah.
Because you know, how do you want to be treated?
Like, I know what you're going for here. I think this is going to get you there.
Yeah.
Try it out. Trust me.
Jason,
and it's really investing a little time into people. Just investing a little bit of time into people, right?
It's so cliche, but I want to make sure I do it. You walk the walk. How do you want to be treated? How do you want your mother to be treated if she goes in a store? Do you want somebody who wants to push things on her? No. Do you want someone who doesn't care and doesn't bother to give them the time of day? No. So you
Dove
feel
is asking you questions.
Oh, hello, Dove. Please tell me your profession. So right now I just happen to be a cashier because a few years ago I was in school. So I had stepped down from the position I was. At that point in time before that, I was a beauty department manager in a pharmacy chain in the country that I live. So I got to get educated in different skincare and I got to learn all about the geeky stuff. But I've always had an interest in science because my dad was a science guy. And I always love learning about medicine, herbs, the body, you know, your skin, your dermis. I just geek out. So besides that, and I've been in retail on and off since I was 19, and I've sold clothes. I used to work at Claire's, so I've worked in a lot of different shops. Besides that, science, woohoo! Science is the best. You know why? Because science doesn't lie. Science is science. Facts are facts. Yep. Science is cool. Because how are we going to understand how things work?
We always have to remember to question everything, though, and that's the whole scientific method is all about continuing to question things. And so allowing that space for things to change and new information to come in is super important. And that's truly scientific.
That's true.
That's the important thing.
So the scientific method, and if you guys are any science people, any engineers know, now it's GeNeVeeve's turn. Do you want to talk, GeNeVeeve? Oh, so besides... I used to, let me just finish real quick with Dove. Dove, I was a pharmacy tech too, as well. I used to work in pharmacy, no more, I don't like it. And when I went to school, I did phlebotomy tech and I did have a year of nursing school. So I have some medical background, but my family moved before I could continue with that. So I have some medical knowledge, but I don't have a degree in that. So I have some things. I'm not an expert.
Yeah, you are. 10,000
I'm just a person who cares.
No, look, 10,000 hours. 10,000 hours of study and practice makes you an expert. So you don't have to have a certification from someone to be an expert. Now,
right, that's the paper.
Yeah, I
mean, the expert is the work.
Exactly. So I think you probably really should give yourself some credit.
I think what I'm clarifying is, I think
you're not a professional, like a medical
I have to do the medical disclaimer, and that is important. Now, I work in a pharmacy, so legally, I am not allowed to recommend any supplements to customers, and that is so important because I know what I know. Because I don't know that person's medical situation. I don't have pharmacology training. I've had some, but I don't know. So if I thought I knew and I give someone the wrong advice and they go home and they're already on blood thinners and taking herbs and then they take this other blood thinner and they bleed out. No. But we have a nurse practitioner in the clinic and we've got pharmacists. So yeah, I can tell them what I think, but I have to legally, and the same thing with my videos. I sound like I'm very knowledgeable about certain things, but don't, always check with your own doctor before, as when it comes to medical stuff. Right. So if you hear things that I talk about, like I might say, hey, it's a good idea to go on medication for your ADHD. Well, this is just my opinion, just as a human and as somebody who has it, but I might not be right for what's right for you. And also, I don't want people to get harmed if they think like I know as much as a doctor.
Well, so, okay, clarifying that you're not a doctor is one thing, but saying that you're not an expert in
I don't know
whatever
I'm an expert of being a geek.
An expert in?
I'm an expert in needing to find out.
Hours of practice, study and practice. Is there anything you've had 10,000 hours of study and
practice?
Art. So I can Dove, what is it that you want to know? What I do for a living or something like that?
Yeah. I think that's what she said. They're asking what our profession was.
I don't know anymore.
Did you say you used to be a photographer?
Yes, I was for many years.
You did photography because I remember you talking to me about how you had experience with editing videos and marketing and stuff like that.
Yeah,
and
I've got a lot of experience in the whole, media, arts, and all of that stuff. Marketing, graphic design, video, live 3-camera shoot, live edit 3-camera shoot in studio. I have a certification for that. I've got lots of time just doing editing, computer editing and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, thanks, Jason. We'll see you soon.
Bye, Jason.
And just all that stuff. All those, what do they call it? Media or something arts. What's it called? Graphic arts or
graphic design.
Graphic design, graphic arts.
Media.
What is it called?
Yeah, media.
Art, something arts. Anyway, yeah. That kind of stuff.
I
don't really have a profession right now. My profession is to be here and spread love. Yeah, I mean,
I'm a professional human. Yay!
Yay. I wish it was a professional gig.
You know what I thought just now? Of course we're going to be experts in something because we're all going to have our own special interest. And then we're going to I don't care about all that other stupid stuff. I want to know about this thing. Like right now, I'm geeking out about learning about the history of medicine because it's cool to me. Because I'm
see, what area does that fall into? It's like a broader area for you.
See, I think this is what it is. It's tickling my funny bone for a couple of things. So I'm learning about history. I'm learning about different cultures because technically, America in the 1800s is not where we are now. That's a totally different time. Everything was different. There's no aspect of life that was the same. Even the way they talked was different. Everything, your life expectancy. And if you go back to the Victorian times, there were so many dangerous things you could die just from the things in your house. They had arsenic and
dragging through poop on the sidewalk like that.
Actually, there was arsenic and lead in toys that kids would put in their mouth, and kids were dying from that. They had, that whole, like, vintage toys, vintage makeup, like things from other time that fascinate me because it helps me to really appreciate where we are. You know what I mean? The thing that I found, GeNeVeev, and I got Lady Phoenix. Whoop, whoop. I'm a professional.
Yay.
You got us both. I think we're kind of like a dream team because, you know, I know that my videos by myself, like, try to be interesting, but I don't have anyone to talk to, so hopefully I'm not too boring.
No. Lives are fun. You know, it's fun to have people to bounce your ideas off of and to react and, you know, have a conversation. And that's what I like about this. I love interacting with the people in the chat. And apparently other live streamers don't necessarily do that all that much. Just before this live stream, I mean, they just they stand there, do their shtick, and let the chat go. And they might check in every so often. Like when you have a topic that you're talking about, like we were here, we're checking in every so often. But
like
when I
body
do my
doubling.
other lives, I just like chit chat and interact. And
got it.
And I think that's missing in today's world. I was just
Connection.
on with a guy who's in the Philippines out in the early morning selling pancakes. He's going through, you know, shouting, you know, that he's selling the bread, the early morning bread, and he's like got a little live stream going, and we're chatting, and he's looking down and talking. It was so cute, and he only had like 3 people on, but I was like, how adorable!
I want
You're
pancakes.
in the Philippines. I'm seeing all these like tropical plants. I'm hearing all these roosters and birds. It was just really cool.
What a treat!
Yeah.
What a treat!
Yeah.
Gail Pet, you have hit the nail on the head. It's your lucky day. Hi, Gigi. Is that what her nickname is, Gigi?
Yeah.
Mark, did he have a Jeep satchel?
A Jeep satchel?
Oh, like a satchel is like a thing you throw over your shoulder, right? So is that, yeah. Aw, I just think that's amazing. Yeah, I was gonna think about doing like a live kayaking, and then I was trying to figure out like, ooh, how can I do that without my camera falling into the lake?
You're gonna have to wear it on your head or get like a chest mount. They got them for like $40 at Best Buy, and you can put it right on your chest.
Pancakes. Right now, as soon as I hear, I'm such a food person. As soon as I hear pancakes, at first I thought pancakes and blueberry syrup, and then I immediately was like, oh, can you imagine if you got a bunch of fruit and then you ever make the pancakes where you put way too many berries and it's so lumpy, but it's like the best thing you've ever had? Have you guys ever had pancakes with fruit in it?
Yeah, it's yummy.
So
I wish I could eat pancakes because I'm gluten-free. Oh, I know what I wanted to say when you were talking about opioids. Check this out. For many autistics, gluten acts like an opioid in their brains.
Interesting.
I've worked with
I'll tell you what.
children, and this dad took his kid off of gluten. He had a very nonverbal, not very well functioning
that really helped him.
He was our neighbor, and I said, you know, try that. He took that child off of gluten. It's like it's a world of difference. It's like they woke up. You know, it's still obviously you're still autistic, but you're going to be able to thrive a little more in life. You know,
interesting. I want to take this friendship.
Yeah. So, Dove, I am almost 54 years old. Next month, I'll be 54.
I'm going to be 50 in November.
Yay. That's right. You're a Scorpio. You're a good Scorpio, though.
I'm a nice one.
You've evolved. That's what I hear from every Scorpio woman. They have to go through this rite of passage.
It's like
where they
ego,
from
death. And you have to go, everything. You have to you have to have things happen. At least in my situation, I had to have things happen that absolutely destroyed everything in my life, like multiple times. It's horrendous, traumatic. I'm like, why does this happen? And that's like the Phoenix. It's like, I want to learn how to be strong enough to survive these things. But like when you're younger, you think you know everything. you don't go through something like that holding on to stuff anymore. Because after that, I mean, you have two choices. So the Scorpio person like doesn't feel in control. And so this is why some of them go dark. Because they've been hurt so bad, we're so sensitive, so their way of doing it is to hurt the other person or manipulate people before they're manipulated. So
well, it's just like the Scorpio, they sting and retreat.
It's self-protection.
Yeah.
But some people end up not being good people.
Yeah.
You have to evolve from that. So I don't know how geeky you guys want me to get, but like Phoenix.
Oh, that's right. You guys don't know this. I'm going to, hold on, let me tell everybody, okay? Lady Phoenix is super into astrology and can read charts.
Yep. I study, I guess now that I know about special interests, I studied it on and off for 20 years. I am, unfortunately. I don't relate to some of the stereotypes, but I understand them.
As Gigi said, her other daughter is a Scorpio.
Just know that when people are not nice people, it comes from pain. It comes from pain. It's tough. You haven't learned the lesson yet. One of my teachers said, if you're like each sign, now this is getting generic because if you get into astrology, you will see that like the old like what it's supposed to be about. It's symbolic. You take it with a grain of salt. You don't get into it like, because you don't put like your faith into it. You use it as a tool and you kind of take and then you have to put it away because you want to be a normal person. You don't want to get it into too much because you'll lose your perspective. And I get into it and I get so into it and then I have to go away from it. And I actually I have enough knowledge that I haven't really been into it in a while. But when I get new friends, I get curious because then their personality is a little different and I want to learn all about them because then I know how I can get along.
She's also very much an expert in the Myers-Briggs interpretations.
I know about some of the personalities.
Oh, okay. The ones you know about.
Yeah.
Yeah. The ones that are in your life, right?
See, Dove, it depends on the Leo, right? So I used to know somebody I was close to who was a Leo. And because this person had cancer and I have basically all the water. I'm water dominant. So Cancer, Pisces, Scorpio, I have got them all. But I also have Virgo moon and I have a Capricorn ascendant. So I have some earth grounding me. And with my Virgo moon, yes, if not evolve, you can be very rigid and perfectionist, but it also is associated with the 6th house of health and wellness and wanting to help others. And if you look at the symbol of Virgo, it's the virgin, it's the pure, it's the overflowing basket of giving to humanity. It's kind of has a similar vibe to Aquarius in that way, even though Aquarius is an air sign, and which is funny because it's the water bearer, but it's an air sign. It's intellect and technology. But they have this, if they identify with the sign, and here's the thing that's funny about astrology, is that you can have somebody who has a sun sign, and Dove, I would have to I'm not an astrologer, and it takes me a long time because I have to feel it. So it works like if I know the person or I can talk to them, and I'm not an astrologer, I'm kind of...
See, if you compare this is exactly the kind of thing you could be doing like a one-on-one Zoom, right?
Yeah, I know some.
You know,
I can do some.
You know more than he does.
I keep it at a basic level because then I kind of get overwhelmed. And it's somebody who it's just like, how far down the rabbit hole do you want to go?
Well, you want to give them information they can use. Like, what is your goal today? Is there something you'd like to learn about yourself so that you can, work on some stuff? Or do you just want a general overview? I mean, it's good to have a question you want answered or a goal for knowing this information so that your astrologer, your reader knows what to look for and how to read you. I think that's important to have a direction, maybe.
So here is one thing that I will say that I take what astrology means to me. So the people who want to see their future. Now, Dove, you are from India, right? So Vedic astrology is an Indian type of astrology, which is different from Western astrology. So I had my Vedic chart done in my 20s, and I can't remember, and it's completely different. If you look at a Western astrology, and there's different house systems. The one that we use here is called Placidus. When you first learn, you do basic house. It's not as accurate. It's just going to get really confusing if I get into it too much. But for me, I tend to, because I'm sensitive and I feel things, so I kind of go towards, I'll do the basic stuff. I'll look at, when I see a chart, I'm kind of just between the basic astrology and the moving into, I can start to feel some things out. But I don't, it's still almost, it's just, there's a phase when you're learning about who's going? Who said, your water. You said your water's all gone. Basic astrology, they call it cookbook astrology because it's so confusing. So first you're learning, so when you're learning about the signs, so you've got all these different parts. You've got the signs, you've got the planets, you've got the houses, and then where they are in relation to the other, you've got aspects, how this part of your life and this, so each planet represents a different part of you.
And that's why I haven't learned it, because that's all, like, there's 3 distinctive layers that you need to understand how the combinations work together, and that just at face value feels very overwhelming, and why I haven't learned to do it myself.
And I've just gotten to the point, after all these years, I've gotten to the point where I can start putting things together now. And it's not just because I'm looking it up. So, she says you look young. When she says childish, I think what she means is not childish, naive, or immature, but childish, very young at heart.
Dove is a man.
That's how I'm taken. Dove is a man?
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, Dove. I can't tell, from that. What was I going to say? Do you have it? Do you have it printed out? Hold it up and I'll tell you what it means.
Who?
You.
What?
Oh, sorry. I put you on the spot. I just freaked you out. Your birth chart. No.
I don't have it in front of me.
I know. Ha 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 ha. I know where we can do your chart for free, and I can look at it right now if you want. Do you want me to do your chart for you? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can.
Oh, okay. You just got quiet. Okay.
I was being quiet.
Yes. I can totally do it for you right now.
Okay.
Do you want me to, or is it getting late? We're tired.
But I'm going to text you my birthday.
Oh, Dove is a Pisces. Pisces are sweet. Did our live stream just go? I see the clock is still ticking. I don't know if you can hear me.
Yeah, I can. Sorry, my bad. I'm going to text you, but I try to do it on my phone. Shoot, I'm going to do it on my...
Oh, you didn't want to say it out loud.
No.
Do you have a time of birth too? Oh, send it to my email.
Can I text you?
You can, but okay. Well, the text will pop up here, right? And I can just type it. Yeah. If you give me the text, it'll pop up. Okay, hold on. Let me make sure I get, because this is an old phone. I can't call on here, but I can go on online.
Okay, I just sent it to you.
In a text?
Yes, I did.
I don't have it. It hasn't popped up yet. Let me minimize this. Hopefully it won't kick me out. Does that sound good? How do I?
Yeah, go ahead. It won't kick you out. So this is something she could be doing on Zoom for money. She's looking for a way to get out of working at the grocery store, but still have an income. And so I think this is a really positive thing. So, if anybody is interested in like a reading, I mean, I get that you don't consider yourself an astrologer or think that you're an expert, but you know, so maybe have for the first 6 months or so that you do it, maybe don't charge quite as much as a normal astrologer or whatever. I don't know. It's only 7:19 p.m. here. It's still completely light outside. She's getting my chart ready. She'll be back.
Am I still? Ah.
Yeah.
Oh, I froze because I had to minimize the screen to go into text. Usually when I get a text, it's weird. It just pops up here while I'm talking to you, but for some reason it didn't. I got your information. This is beauteous. Usually what I'll do is what is that?
Oh, they just asked what I'm munching on.
Oh, okay.
It's my xylitol gum.
Google.
Oh, my dress is all twisted up on me.
That doesn't sound comfortable.
It's not.
I'm sorry. Turn your camera and fix it. Astro. There. I'm on an old phone. So free. See, I don't want the reading. I want the chart so that I can try to figure it out, because if I see too much, it won't help me.
Got it. Got it. Yeah. I think you should
They-
do Zoom readings with people and charge, something that's reasonable. If you don't think that if you think that you're kind of basic entry level, then do a discounted reading for the next 6 months or something like that on Zoom.
I will become obsessed with that, and then I won't do other things.
I mean, make money.
I mean, I might, but
stack your chips.
I could.
Because then you don't have to worry about the grocery store, and you don't have, you can just
Yeah.
have a little astrology side hustle, because you're going to have a way of interpreting it that's a little different than other people.
I can contact my teacher.
Do astrology Myers-Briggs combo. Like a synthesis.
See, I don't understand. I know of Myers-Briggs, and I understand certain personalities, but I actually don't understand how it works. And when I watch that Frank James guy, he has these funny skits, but he also has the videos explaining the cognitive functions and the cognitive stack, and I'm like, I can't deal with that. That doesn't make, it's too much, because I don't understand it.
So it's also too much for other people. You want to teach people you're just right the next level above where they are, which you can do.
I'll think on it.
Yeah, think about that.
The reason why I have to be careful is because this is why I go away from astrology for a while. It's dangerous for me, because not dangerous like it'd be harmful, but it's hard for me to have balance with things I want to hyper focus on, and that one is particularly insidious. Well, it would take over my life, and right now I'm trying to get back on track. So right now, maybe not so much, but I might do so let's do chart drawing and ascendant. So
and you could put your Venmo handle in your description.
I need Venmo. Yeah. I don't even have it yet.
In the description of your videos, because then if you did a reading like this for someone, even in a live, they can shoot you $10 or $20 or whatever. I don't know.
See, I don't know how to do anything halfway, and then it will become a drug, and then I will want to I will totally lose my mind. Some things I'm
3'11".
All right.
I'm 4'1". I'm 6'2".
Wait.
What's the astrology on hold music? This is the
Age of Aquarius. Yes. Okay. And meanwhile, I'm just going.
Okay, Dove. On my left
I'm
side,
typing
I'm
in.
5'5", and on my right side, on my right side, I'm 5'7". Okay. Did you hear that? I'm 5'5" and 5'7", depending on which side I'm standing on.
You talking to Dove?
Yeah.
Okay. Let me make sure I wrote.
I just did my younger son's chart. He's
Yep.
a Taurus, and I think he's got a Taurus moon. No, a Taurus. Yeah, Taurus rising. I think he's got so much Taurus.
Grounded, practical, stubborn, and only sees things from that perspective, which is okay because they bring so many good things. Yeah. It's just difficult if you are opposite. Like my father was a Taurus, I'm a Scorpio. He was ISTJ, and I did test as a teenager ENFP. So we were opposite here. We were opposite in every way. So we didn't understand each other. It was like we're talking two different languages. We always misunderstood each other, and we get offended by each other all the time, and we didn't mean anything, but it was bad. I'm 5'8".
Tall
I don't
lady.
know. I could say like I'm 3 foot.
Yeah, I'm let's see, I'm an INTP, and my younger son did it, and he's an ENTP.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We really do understand each other very well. I think Gigi is also an INTP.
You want to hear something cool? There is this girl who does Myers-Briggs, and she had these videos about how her personality type is naturally really good friends with my personality type, and it's ENTP. And she was saying why? Because she said the INFP, my personality type is so, it's different. It's not the rarest, but it's the second rarest, and there's not many people. So it's common for a lot of people to misunderstand, and people say, you're too sensitive, you're too this. And so you're like, and you just withdraw because you're like, and people don't get you. And she is just enough that they get you. Let's see. Your sun is in Leo. Your moon is in Aquarius. Oh, that's one reason that you and I get along. You being your ascendant being in Libra is good. My Mercury is in Libra. We have some things here. So it's more than sun.
Huh?
It's not just the sun. It's not the sun. Oh, sun sign. So you being a Leo is one part of you. Right. So even twins don't have the exact same birth chart. Because every few minutes the ascendant changes, and it's just like slightly different.
See, which is kind of neat. My first chart that my mom sent me in 1984, it had my rising as Scorpio. And then ever since
probably
it's
close.
In Libra.
That makes sense.
Cuspy.
Yeah, because it's 23 degrees in Libra, and Libra is right next to Scorpio.
Yeah. I do think so. When people first get a load of you, that's your ascendant, right? And I think when people first get a load of me, they instantly are hit with a bunch of Scorpio. I kind of think that the reaction I've got from people in my life, they're getting like Scorpio energy. It's like your mask, but it's not a fake part of who you are. It's still part of you, but it's the part that people see first. Yeah. So if you were represented at your personality as a unique person and all the layers. Is Scorpio. Your front porch is what people see. That's your ascendant. And then your house is your sun. And then the moon is kind of like either the attic or the basement. Nobody sees it. Yeah, that's your basement, your attic, and all that stuff. Mm-hmm. It's your closet. Can't I just do this as a visiting person? Meh. I'm going to give them your email. Oh, I can't. I'll do mine and then I'll send it to you. Dove, you want me to? The camera angles. If I go like this, if I put you down here, I look really tall. If I put you up here, I look tiny. I'm 2'4". It's all. Am I going on this too late?
Huh? Do you need me to? I'm talking to Curtis for a second.
Okay.
Hey, baby. Curtis. Oh, he's got his earbuds.
So Gigi.
I was kind of asking if we were too late. Place my
Gigi's
moon is in Virgo.
Dove,
so
that's not how this works. You're not directing the video tonight, sweetie. But thank you for your direction.
We could be making up we could be making it up.
I know. You can't see us, but we're actually connected at the hip. You don't realize we're just sitting next to one another.
We're Siamese twins.
Give me a kiss, baby. Come on, Sherry, kiss me.
I don't want to make a password for this. Astro.
That moment is the most fun I've had all day.
Log in.
So
sure.
Mark, to do your chart, you need your birth date, time, and place.
Where did it go?
The city you were born in.
Oh, it remembers me.
And if they get really specific, I think some of them even go down to latitude and longitude, like your literal place. The place, not even just the city, but the place. If you get really exacting with it.
It remembers me. I was trying.
And there's a lot of like things you can go and do your free astrology reading on these different websites, but you might not really understand what it all means is the thing, you know.
It remembered me on my battery. This website. I am gonna have to charge my phone.
Dove, I've always said I'm tall for my height. People have always thought I was taller than I am. I don't know. Maybe my head.
I don't know.
Short people usually have big heads.
Well, here's mine. Okay, so I am going to add you because I set my information to set myself up as registered. Add. Okay, here we go. I didn't have your... Hello?
Doing that, apparently.
Okay. I'm like, what happened? And I'm sorry. I'm going down the rabbit hole. They're making me do it all over again. Sorry. Am I on an echo? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I'm trying to reconnect. Sorry.
Oh, okay.
I don't know what's going on. I'm frozen, but it doesn't matter. I don't mind that look on my face. It's just fine with me.
So let's try this again. It's because I'm not registered under this phone anymore.
So, Gigi, are you saying that I turned the wrong way? Because on my phone, that's the correct way.
It did look like you were going away from me.
Oh, on my phone, it's not. Oh, well, I'm frozen anyway, so it doesn't matter.
Where is that state? There you go. Let me double check, make sure I typed it right. Yada, yada, yada. Continue. There you go.
Can everybody hear Lady Phoenix? Is that my chart?
It is.
Okay, I can't hear you anymore.
You can't? Did my mic go?
Maybe it's just me. Can everybody
hear? I hear an echo.
No? You said there's an echo?
In my earbuds.
I don't know what's going on. Hold on.
Can you guys hear me?
Okay. They can hear you. I'm just going to take a 5-minute, 1 minute breather.
I'm gonna calculations. Wahaha.
Okay, is that better? Did it stop echoing?
It's still, but it doesn't bother me. Can you guys hear the echo?
I'll be right back.
I think Dove said yeah. Moon. Mark. Yes. Mars. Oh my God. Let's take a gander. Where's the ascendant? Ah. Oh. Did you say that the ascendant's supposed to be Scorpio?
Hold on now.
Oh, sorry.
No, I'm just letting you do your thing.
I'm just got my head down. I'm writing some notes.
Echo's not bad. Okay, I'll be back. I mean, I'm right here.
I sound nasally. Venus.
That is so weird. Why am I frozen?
You have a lot of Libra in your chart.
Libra? Yeah.
Yeah.
I know I've got Libra in Venus or whatever, so I'm supposed to like date Libra men, but that has not worked out.
No, that will mean that there are certain traits that are associated with that sign that you might be drawn to.
No.
But that doesn't mean you should be with somebody. That's that, if that makes sense.
Oh, okay.
That's how I take it.
Okay. How do we get
Everybody was taught differently, and there's so many interpretations for this. So I can only.
How to refresh myself? This is so weird, you guys.
Do you want me to leave and come back?
No, I don't.
Would that help?
No, I don't think so. I don't know why it is this way. I'm
Okay.
I'm a grinning idiot. That's fine with me though.
Air, Earth. I'm like writing things down, so sorry.
No, that's okay. Don't you guys think this is, well, I'm going to
Can you see my map? Sorry, Dove, I was kind of taking some notes for GeNeVeeve's chart. So I was doing some calculations so I could get an answer for you. You should tell something about me. You would have to be on the live so that I could ask you questions and like talk to you. I don't know how to do it. I'm rusty too, so bear with me. It's been a long time.
Yeah, I think we can get you back in practice, but like you said, you don't want to get super sucked back into it.
Yes, it's dangerous. See, at least like when I'm looking up a certain subject, there's only so much you can do. You can exhaust it, and then after a little while, you just get tired and you move on to the next thing. And I can put that in its parameter, but this has the potential to just take over my life. 1, 2. Earth. Air. Where?
I can't. My side of the screen is frozen.
Air.
There's nothing I can do about it. But you can hear me, can't you?
I can hear you.
Okay.
Yeah, your face is frozen. And that, yeah. But at least it's not black. We have your beautiful face to see.
Yeah.
It's just not moving. It's just like a photo.
I look, I don't know what that look is on my face, but whatever.
You're smiling. You're like, hi.
Sort of.
Oh, where was I?
suppose.
So 2 fire, 2 air, 1 earth, 1 air, 1 fire, there I am, 1 earth, 1
Yes, Dove.
air,
I cannot.
water,
I can't unfreeze
earth.
myself. So is my microphone still very low? I plugged myself in again.
Guess what?
What? We have the same chart, don't we?
No, you're dominant in air.
I'm a dom.
So like there's a calculation you can do, and there's so many points for the sun and the moon. There's 2 points for the way I was taught. There's 2 points for the sun and the moon because they have such, they're so close to us, and they have such they're so important part of us. So the weight of them is more. And so when you're calculating how much you are of each element, like right now I just did the elements, how many fire signs, how many, and I only go to Pluto. I don't do like the Chiron. We'll talk about Chiron and the nodes and all that. But we're just sticking with the planets. And in astrology, they've always called the sun and the moon a planet, even though they're luminaries. That's just the title of it. So,
body, right.
Right. But they call it like that's its name in this subject, but that doesn't mean that's what it is, if that makes sense. Okay. So you have 5 air, 3 fire, 3 earth, and 1 water. So guess what? I have 5 water and 1 fire. I do have air and I do have earth. So you are water deficient because you only have 1, and I got tons of it, so you can have some of mine.
Thank you. What does that
And
mean? You know what? I do take that to mean I'm not at all wishy-washy, because I'm not.
So each of the elements represents almost like a different personality type, a tendency to react a certain way in situations. So water signs are more sensitive, they're intuitive, they feel things. But if you have too much water, you're just too sensitive and you're feeling everybody's feelings, and you're not practical, you're not initiating things, you know, you're just kind of, you know, too much of something is not always good. So, and then there's negative and positive of each thing, right? Fire is actions. They initiate, they're impatient, they jump, they do. They do before they think. But one thing that I heard is that the saving grace is that their instincts are good. So generally speaking, 9 times out of 10, they'll be right. But they're impulsive. So that's not necessarily good as far as thinking things through. Now for you, your moon's in Aquarius, and that's a big part of you, and that's good.
It is a big
And so, yeah, your moon being in Aquarius, that is a logical, rational air sign. So you are going to think things through. And you have 5 of them. So you don't have to worry about being too impulsive. It's part of you, but it's not all of you. So when I say water dominant, you're not going to be bogged down by, and that doesn't mean you're not intuitive. That doesn't mean you're not creative.
Deficient.
Yeah, meaning like, I'm going to block off the date. Can you see the screen?
Face. Hold on, let me go to the, yes.
That's your tally for all the elements.
Let me look at the big screen here. Oops, hold on, you're going to echo. 1 second, let me get caught up on my big computer so I can see that.
It's like chicken scratch.
Okay, I see it. And what am I looking at? Leo,
So
Virgo,
I just did your balance of elements first of the signs. So you're dominant in air, and air is intellect.
Yes, girl. I am
Yeah.
dominant in intellect.
But you have fire too.
That's what I've always said. I'm the fun one at the party. Not really.
But you do have fire. You do. You have 3. And it being your sun is a bit, so you have that. But it's not
intellectual.
But look at how much air you have. You have more air than fire. So that's why you like to research things. That's why you are like me in that way. You like got to figure out everything. My Mercury is how I think and I communicate. My Mercury is in Libra, air. And my moon's in Virgo, it's earth. My ascendant is Capricorn. That's hardworking. Earth. Those things are my saving grace for all of my water. If I had more water, I would just die. It's too painful. It's too much emotion. Too much. You can't survive that amount of sensitivity.
So explain then, if you're talking about water and how I don't have a ton of water in my, like, I can cut off bad relationships. I mean, with men it's harder, but I've learned in life that I can literally just cut off relationships and walk away from them, and that's the healthiest thing for me to do a lot of the time.
That's an air thing.
I've cut out the toxic relationships in my life that, like, some of them were just dragging on for years and years, and I wasn't clear that they were toxic. And then once I became clear that they were very toxic for me, I just cut them off and I was done. Like, boom.
As a Scorpio, that is a Scorpio characteristic, that when I'm done and I never speak to them again, because the particular previous people in my life, I can't. So it's like, you're moving on. That's not part of my life, right? But you won't be destroyed by it. You will actually emotionally move on. It's not going to like destroy you.
No.
It took me 3 years to just be a normal human.
Well, I mean, I had some recovery time to do, that's for sure. But I came right, it's like, you know, a rubber band. I just came right back to where I am.
I didn't at all. No, it was horrible. I was a shell. I was broken. I was a broken person. I recently, you know, and this is like off topic, but out of curiosity, because I keep, no,
I'm kidding.
I keep getting stuff for, I think, because it's the anniversary. I'm not watching Dove's astrology set. Dove, I'm sorry. I was talking to Dove. What do you need?
Like a baby.
He's saying you are very good at. I was saying thank you very much for the compliment. I appreciate that. He's right. He's right. I am very emotional. Mm-hmm. I can try to shut it off, but I can't. It'll be my poison. I'll eat it. And that's not good. And I've had to do that because the people around me are not like me. So it's not healthy. So that's where, as far as being a Scorpion, I don't sting other people because I can't. So what happens? I eat my poison and I like die. And somehow I'm still here. So I don't know how that's happened.
So you're saying that you redirected it towards yourself instead of lashing out at other people?
Yeah.
Instead of stinging other people, you sting yourself.
I eat it. Yeah. I internalize it. You are right, Dove. You are right. Dove, do you know about astrology? Do you know about Chiron? Jen, do you know about Chiron?
Not really anything. I've heard about it, though, because there's another astrologer, the Leo King, and he talks about Chiron and the nodes and stuff. But no, not really.
So, Chiron, it's funny because that's me. I just go straight to someone's pain. It's a Scorpio thing. I'm Scorpio through and through. I can't get away from it. So if you think of Scorpio as the stereotype, you know, this like sensual person who just wants to kill people, that's not it. That's some just like obsessed with death or obsessed with the bedroom. I'm not. That's not me, but I understand it.
You're ruled by Mars, which is the war planet.
It has a dual rulership. Scorpio is one of the planets that has dual rulership. It was originally Mars only, and then when they discovered Pluto came after. The astrology existed before, and then they realized the meaning of Pluto is, and I don't know how they got that, but it's Pluto is the death and rebirth.
Dove,
so Mars, what?
I'm just asking Dove. He's asking what his sun sign would be. What is your birthday, Dove? Just your day and month. Yeah, Dove is very insistent. Are you frozen, Sherry? I wonder if our live stream just pooped out on us. My phone is frozen. No video or audio. March 18.